Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
Neves brings it down on the volley. Oh, you must be kidding me! Ruben Neves has just struck a sensational goal. Oh, it's heard in. It's the underdog doctor who arrives. Oh, the brilliant Belgian in the right place at the right time. Calls it all. That's unbelievable. Jean Martinho has whipped it into the far top corner. Can you believe this?
A very good evening and welcome to Matchday Live Extra from Wolves TV. I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me here at the Amex Community Stadium, as ever, is the Hall of Famer Andy Thompson. Although I say alongside me, he's a row in front and a long way to the side as well. Joining us from home is Ikeme and Michael Kightly as well. Plenty more guests to get through between now and kick-off here, which is fast approaching. We'll get to the team news in just a second, but just a reflection, Tomo, on what was we said at the time, a cruel and heartbreaking defeat at Manchester United in the final game of 2020, and one that they're going to have to try and put out of their system pretty quickly.
Yeah, they are. So look, I think especially the first half, I thought they played well. I thought they created opportunities. And it was just unfortunate they couldn't take any of them. And the second half was a little bit different. Never offered a big threat to Man United going forward. Defended well, and as I said to you, it's a cruel game, and that's what it can do to you in the circumstances. Just to get a deflected goal, just to win it in the 90-odd minutes. So it's something that they're going to have to put behind them now. And when they're coming to Brighton now, so I know it's not been a great place for us in recent years, but they've got to put out a performance, and they've just got to keep going so they can hopefully get the right result.
Ikeme, will they look at the performance at Old Trafford and kind of say, actually, we did some things really well across that 90 minutes, and therefore we kind of don't need to worry too much?
Yeah, I think it's important they look at the performances, especially of late, and not apart from Burnley. I think we've played well in the past five games. The Villa result was another harsh one, really. In reality, I don't think we played unbelievable that game, but we didn't deserve to lose either. We created chances, and Spurs Man United game as well was two other great performances as well. In my opinion, I felt like we deserved the victory against Spurs, and we definitely didn't deserve to lose that against Man United. So I think I think that's where Nuno and his staff will come into play to try and pick the lads up, because even though they did perform well, they're still going to be bitterly disappointed. But I think when they analyse the game and analyse how they've played and how they've played over this sort of Christmas, December period, I think they'll be happy with the performances. It's just that we need more goals, I think. And I think that's been our issue probably for this season, really. But I think it showed a lot more in December.
We'll come to that in a second, Michael Kightly. But I mean, football is strange at times, isn't it? They concede late to Villa and then follow it up a couple of days later by scoring in the last minute to win at Chelsea. They then concede late at Man United. You wouldn't put it beyond them to go and score late and possibly win the game here tonight.
No, definitely not. I think the character of this team over the last few years has been top draw, in my opinion. So, you wouldn't surprise you. I think just going back to what Keanes has said there, I think the last two games they've gone toe-to-toe with obviously United and Spurs and beaten Chelsea a little while ago. So they can go toe-to-toe with any team in this league. It's just trying to get that consistency of picking up wins. Back-to-back wins is massive in the Premier League. So hopefully they can get a result tonight, and then we can start building and get into the top half of the table.
It's important what Kite said there. It's consistency of performance, but it's trying to get the consistency of wins now. I feel like we're getting more consistent performances than we weren't getting at the start of the season. I felt that even though we looked great one game, we looked sort of offish in other games, and we looked like we didn't get into rhythm. Where I think we actually have seen consistent performances, just about like Kite said, getting consistent results now.
Well, I guess one of the issues has been the the inability to get consistent team selection for one reason or another. Well, we can have a look at the team that Wolves have selected tonight. 2 changes from the side that played at Old Trafford, but I guess more importantly, going back to a back 4, Tomo, with Max Kilman dropping out, Nelson Semedo back in place of Keanu Hoover, who I thought did really well at Old Trafford, and Fabio Silva returning.
Yeah, well, we spoke about this before, where we've said about that he'll change his formation, and that's what he's got now because of that change, what we've done earlier on to a back 4, that he'll change it depending on how the opponents play. And he thinks and believes that this is the best team to get him the right result. And look, there's still a great ability in this team. There's still people in there who can win us games, but the only problem is that we've got to put the ball in the net. That's the one thing that we're missing. So we've created opportunities in games. As I said, the disappointing game was only Burnley. We created a lot of opportunities against Tottenham. We created opportunities against Man United. And without that number 9 or that goal scorer, what we're missing at the moment, so it's not getting us any games, and that gives you confidence by scoring goals and getting the right results. And we talk about performances, but they'll be feeling a little bit sorry for themselves after the Man United defeat, because I presume that they'll feel like they did pretty well, went toe to toe with them, but they've got to start putting the ball in the net for me. So look, they need to make sure, no matter what formation they're playing, that we've got to score.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it, Carl Ikeme, that look, I mean, they need to score goals, but also they're not keeping them out at the other end. The last clean sheet was, I think, Crystal Palace back in October. So we've seen the changing between the 4 at the back, the 5 at the back. Look, there's no Willy Bolly, there's no Leander Dendoncker, there's no Marçal, there's no Raul Jimenez, we know. Still Johnny not around. And then you factor in there's no Daniel Podence tonight either. So Wolves have got 2 goalkeepers on the bench this evening amongst a number of effectively under-23s players. I mean, we can be as critical as we like, can't we, sometimes, but these are the players that we have, and we just got to hope that they can go out there and produce no matter what formation they're in.
Yeah, maybe we'll see 2 goalkeepers on the pitch tonight, maybe to keep that clean sheet.
I was going to say, it was good, wasn't it?
That might be helpful.
I might have doing it.
But yeah, you're right. It's the consistency of having a team selection to pick as well, and I think because we've been so used to having the same team play week in, week out, with 1 or 2 changes possibly now and again, I feel that's obviously not helping us be consistent in keeping a clean sheet, or before it weren't helping us with performance as well. So it's tough. You're looking at the bench tonight, like you said, with the two goalkeepers on the bench, a lot of young lads on the bench. And you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot of players that have come in, like Nori's quite new as a young boy as well, who Kahuga, who played really well against United. You're asking a lot for these players to all come in together and try and find the consistency and find the solidness which we've been used to. So I think the formation switch is trying to get more goals and trying to get more attacking players on the pitch, but also it's not helping us necessarily keep clean sheets. But I'd go on to that though. I would say there's been a lot of individual errors. I don't think it's never for me been down to a formational issue. It's been individual errors that have cost us goals at the time. It's never been like we've changed to this 4-4-3 and we're getting absolutely dismantled. It's never been that. It's been individual errors that have cost us really. It's not really about the formation. I believe that he's looking to play this formation more often than not now, and I think that Nuno will progress into this. But like games like United where he wants to be a bit tighter, I think he might revert back to the 3.
Because it's interesting, isn't it, Michael Kightly? And I wonder, I take Keames' point on board. I also wonder about whether there is just an element of trying to find a way to replace the goals of Raul Jimenez. And if that means that you have to have more attacking players on the pitch, and that means sacrificing one of the back 5, that's something they have to try and do, because they don't have anybody that can step in and be a Jimenez. So if it takes 2 people or 3 people to do the job that he would normally do, then that's what they've got to do.
Yeah, I definitely think, with Jimenez, he's irreplaceable for me. And there's been times this season when we've had Podence, Neto, Traore and Silva all on the pitch at the same time. So I think, obviously, he's looking at that. I think going back to the clean sheet situation, I think when you're not scoring goals at will, it's harder to keep clean sheets. I think Keames will vouch for me. If you're 1-0 up in a game, it's sort of almost easier to hang on to a clean sheet if you've got something to hold on to. Where if it's 0-0 and you've had a few chances, you've not scored, it becomes a little bit nervy. And I think that's happened of late. I think the reason why he's changed to a back four is because of Doherty being so different to Semedo. I don't think Semedo's more of a wing back like Doherty was. He's more of a fullback, right fullback rather than a right wing back. So I think that's had a reason for him to change to a four. And then obviously the injuries that we spoke about, Bolly being out's huge, and the list goes on with the injuries. And that's why this month for me, I've said it before, this month is a huge month in the transfer market for Wolves.
Okay, we will come back to some of this discussion about tonight and the team lineup. The teams are out warming up, by the way. They're just not playing any music inside the stadium or anything like that. But we thought, given it is the first game of 2021, we would maybe have a little look back at the last 12 months. And to do that, we are joined by the Athletics' Tim Spears, who is in a strange part of the ground. I don't know, are you higher up than we are?
Yeah, they took me away right at the back, mate, so I can't cause any trouble.
In a cupboard.
It's the best place for me, mate, to be honest.
Tim, we're looking back on a 12 months, which it will go down in history in the game for many, many reasons. From a Wolves point of view, how do we look back and assess it? Because we ended up with a European quarterfinal, which was an incredible journey, and a seventh place finish as well in the Premier League. And yet maybe there's probably a feeling amongst some fans because of the last couple of weeks that maybe won't look back on it as fondly as they maybe should do.
Yeah, I think that's how it's probably been reflected. It's not been an enjoyable few months anyway because there's been no fans in the ground, and I think the football on offer, people haven't really enjoyed it too much, to be honest. But yeah, if you look back at the year as a whole, it's been pretty successful. And I was counting up their points per games per year in the league this year. They average 1.5 points per game, and that's exactly the same as 2019. So they're very consistent with the amount of wins that they produce and the amount of points that they earn. But this season, it's been a bit of a tough watch at times, and the league's different this year. The top 4 and 5 didn't get as many points as they historically do last year, which kind of helped bump Wolves up the table a little bit. But this year's a bit different. They're a bit further down the table. And with the injuries, with Jota and Doherty going and Jimenez out, it's not quite felt the same Wolves that it has for the sort of previous 2-3 years. It's been a sort of year of growing up, really, I think. So new formation, new style, lots to get used to, and no fans here. So it has kind of ended on a bit of a down note. But if you look at the league table and their points per game, it's still pretty good.
Because
Sorry, Mike.
Make a point that it feels like, Carl, that there's been 3 seasons in one in this year. You had up to March, then the restart, and then the restart.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the whole period with COVID and the people not being able to go to the games. People's lives anyway have changed in a massive way, but if you look back at it, it's been one of the most successful years in recent history for Wolverhampton. Just quarter final of Europe. Seventh place finish. What more do you want? I know we're a bit somber now, but I think that's just to do with the situation of life at the minute and just a sort of transitional period of the club. But reflecting on the year, it's incredible to have that run in Europe and still finish strong in the league. It's been an incredible year for us, really. I know the last few months haven't been as good, but it's not been that good for anyone in life in general, to be honest. And I don't feel that should be reflected on the great year and the great run in Europe that we did have, because it was incredible.
Mikey, I also think the fans not being at the ground has been massive for Wolves. I think some teams in the division, it's almost helped them, but I think with Wolves, it's really played against them, because Molineux's been a fortress over the last couple of years, and it's been a tough place for people to go. So I think, like West Ham, for instance, I think it's helped West Ham, but I think, and probably Villa, teams like that. But it's on the other hand, for Wolves, it's damaged just that, not the form at home, but just the way that we're playing at home. I think it's a massive difference between this year and last year. So I think we've got to look at that as well.
It's also it's that spirit as well that it brings, and especially when you have the new players come in as well, and they're trying to learn like a new club and a new style of playing, and what Nuno is trying to do. When you've got the fans with you and creating that atmosphere and the spirit, it kind of drags the new players along with you as well. When there's tough moments where it's hard for them to adjust anyway, coming into like a new club and that, and with all the changes. So I agree with Kites that Molineux has been a tough place to come for the last 4 or 5 years now, and the fans have helped massively, and it's gone against us that they're not there to help us on.
Well, Tim will get this, that at times there have been games where momentum has been building on the pitch, but because there's no fans in, it doesn't feel that way. And I'm not sure that then kind of transcribes over to those who are watching on telly, that the momentum was as it felt when you're actually here and watching it.
I remember the Villa game a few weeks ago, and I felt like it was quite an intense game, and it sort of felt like a derby to me. And I was like, this is the first game since lockdown that I've really thought no fans being there hasn't affected it. And then I looked at my timeline, and everyone was saying how dull it was. They switched off at half time, terrible game. And I was like, I guess it doesn't come through on the TV. And like what Carl said, really, I mean, they've really built up this one pack mentality over the last 3 years, and the relationship between Nuno and the fans has been universally positive, and the players as well. And you've sort of seen, I know it's only social media and Twitter, but that's changed a bit in the last few months. And I think that is as a frustration of fans not being there. And I think, as Kite said, Wolves are one of the teams that really do miss the fans. It's hard to put a number on it and it's hard to judge it, but I think we all know from having been at the games in the last few years just what a difference the fans have made, both home and away.
I was going to say about the away games. So look, it's the massive coming away from home. Sell out usually with the tickets for away fans as well, and just the backing that they give you as a whole. Like you said, they're home and away, so it's incredible. And the following, and it gives you the buzz and it gives you an edge. And again, it's got to be strange for some players who've just come to the club, as Keynes was touching on about, like coming to here and seeing the fans, what the Wolves do and what they do, get behind the players, and say it will be strange for a while. Yeah, hopefully not too long, but we would love them back. That's the thing.
There is also this element, Tim, I think you touched on it a bit, about the transition that we've been through of recent weeks, maybe more so after the restart kind of came back, in the fact that, I mean, the other night we had Connor Cody on the pitch, but not playing the Connor Cody role in a back five. There's no Willy Bolly at the minute, no Dendoncker, no Jimenez, no Johnny. Doherty and Jota have left the club. Everything we've known about over the last couple of years seems to have changed in a very short space of time for one reason or another.
And also we know how much emphasis Nuno places on the fact that he's a training ground manager, and he lives for those daily sessions where he's in the centre circle coaching his players face to face, and they really missed that in the summer. You can't forget that. I think they've been playing catch up since September, to be honest. They had 30 days between seasons. They had the longest season in their history last year, 59 games. And then they get no break, and then they get 3 international breaks. They've got a lot of international players now. This isn't something that the squad's been used to over the past couple of years either. No pre-season. So now, you're looking at him trying a new formation this season, having not really had a huge amount of time on the training ground, plus the disruption that COVID brings and everything like that, unsettling their kind of routines. I think it all adds up, and I think fans were sort of welcomed that, and in the early weeks of the season they understood that and appreciated that. But that excuse has sort of worn thin over the past few weeks. But for me, it still stands. They're still playing catch up. It's been a hugely disruptive few months.
But Tim, what would you say about, like, they've always been lucky with the injuries over the last 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden big players have got injured?
No coincidence, is it?
Yeah, and say it's got to take its toll. Like 59 games last year, it's got to take its toll. We've been very lucky with injuries that we've been able to pick from whoever we want, really. And then to have this many players off, and big players for us, and our leading goal scorer, is going to affect any club. It doesn't matter who they are. If you've got big players like that, it's going to affect the running and the selection of your team.
Right, let's kind of have a quick think, boys, about a moment of 2020. And I say, it's strange because you kind of go all the way back for me to the win away at Spurs, which just felt so amazing, and the goals that kind of turned it round. One I did want to pick up on, for good and bad reasons, was Burnley away at the end of, I think, where you saw Raul Jimenez score a wonder goal, then the penalty in the last minute, and Michael Kightly's rant after full time has to be in there. Michael,
Nightmares about that game.
That's one of the highlights of 2020 for me. The passion that came through you there.
Oh, that game honestly still gives me nightmares, because I honestly think if we'd have won that game, we could have nicked fourth spot, because the momentum and just, I honestly think we could have nicked Champions League, and how that was given as handball, I was fuming.
Well, the decisions last year anyway, weren't they?
That definitely weren't a highlight for me, that game. But I would say the Spurs game. I was actually at the Spurs game away in the Wolves end, and that for me was electric. That was my highlight of the year.
Carl Ikeme, what would you pick out?
I think I'm going to agree with you and Kite. The Tottenham game. I wasn't at the game, but just watching, it was just, you could watching the TV, you could feel the energy come through the TV. It was like one of them moments where I wish I was there. It's like them moments where you wish you were back playing. I feel like that often, but when I see in games like that, you know the thrill that the players that get. The fans were incredible. You could hear them, they were vocal, and it just felt like we was on a really good run as well of form, and we've kind of felt unbeatable, like where we could beat anyone. I think that kind of proved it even more to me, that we could go to any club in the league and we could turn them over, just because we had them excited players with taking the ball and moving it up the pitch. It was just an incredible game.
Tim?
The Spurs game's definitely the highlight. I guess the recent Chelsea game as well would certainly be the best since lockdown started. I think you would have took the Olympiacos home win in there if there were fans in the ground. I mean, it wasn't the greatest game, but it was such an achievement. But it's sort of nullified by the fact it was an empty stadium. I'd also took the Southampton game in there. Do you remember that? Way back in January, 2-0 down at half time and then won 3-2. That was a great day. And then there's sort of moments you have to have the Podence nutmeg on De Bruyne, wouldn't you? That was a highlight for me. And also Neves' goal against Espanyol, the Cheston volley, which is one of the last games we had with fans as well. That was the goal of the year for me, and one of the best moments.
Tomo?
Man City at home as well. So you mentioned about the Tottenham.
That was 2019.
Sorry, wrong one, mate. Sorry. But I'll say the Tottenham game I was just about to say. The Tottenham game was a great one as well. But I just think that the Southampton, when we've gone there and 2-0 down, same what Tim just said there, it was a great recovery to come back from that. Because when you was looking at it at half time, you were thinking, we're never going to come back from this. But the character that they actually showed in the game to come back, I thought was extraordinary and actually unbelievable to come back.
Looking ahead then to 2021, Tim, part of the reason we get you on is because you're so well connected and you've got all the inside info. So everyone wants to know, January, can you see things happening? And then how are we going to look for the next couple of months?
Well, I mean, obviously since Jimenez picked up his injury, they've been looking all over for a striker. Accumulated a very long list of players, I believe at least 30 strikers that they've kind of had on a long list, which they've gradually whittled down. And then they've spoke to Nuno sort of at the end of December as to who their preferred targets are, and now they're making their moves now. But I mean, they'd love to have brought someone in already, but it's not up to them, is it? We all know how hard it is to sign someone in January. The club you're buying from has got to agree to sell. They've probably got to line up a replacement at the same time before they agree to sell, because no one's going to want to lose a player at this time of the season. So it's very hard. I mean, a few of the names that I kind of know that they've looked at, it's interesting to note the different styles of players. I mean, Jovic at Real Madrid was one that they've looked at, Origi at Liverpool, and Josh King at Bournemouth. Different type of players, really. I think they've been really keen to get a good look at Fabio Silva and see what he can do and see what they think he can offer in the next few months, and see if they want to bring in a senior striker to sort of displace Silva or have someone to kind of vie with him for a striker role. So, and also they're looking at permanence, they're looking at loans, they're looking all over the world. It's a very wide net, but they're confident that they can bring in a player. And I'd say they really need to, because if they don't, the season could peter out quite quickly. I think they need it. I can't see them putting together a run of victories unless they bring in a goal scoring striker. So it's difficult because it's a short term signing, which Wolves don't really do they? They always look to the long term. Whereas whoever they bring in knows that in 6 months' time or whenever, Raul Jimenez is going to be back and back to being first choice. So it's a really difficult equation. But for me, if you're on about bringing in a loan player, someone like Origi, for like a £4 million loan fee just for the rest of the season. That would be money well spent, because if he scores 5-6 goals and bumps you up a few places in the table, he's already pays you back in terms of prize money, because we know a few places worth £3 million each. He's the kind of player that I'd be looking at, and well, I'm sure they'll get somebody in.
It's interesting though, isn't it, Carl Ikeme? Because as Tim was talking there about Fabio Silva, I know you're really excited about what he could go on to be. And if Pedro Neto was kind of the breakout star of 2020, could Fabio Silva be the breakout star of 2021?
Yeah, possibly. I think, especially towards the end of the year, it's just interesting to hear what Tim had to say. Really, I think we touched on it. I don't know if it was the last game about bringing somebody in, and I think my opinion is that I'd like someone experienced to help Fabio, because I really do feel like he's got talent, and I don't really want to see him get too pushed aside too much because he can't get a look in as well. So I'd like someone with experience to come in if possible. Like Tim said as well, Jimenez will be back at some point, hopefully this season, if not next, and he's going to be our main man as well. But I'd like someone to come in and help Fabio and help the other Podence, Neto, Traore as well, because even when they are playing together and there's no striker, there's no focal point there, and I think having a focal point is so important for them players to find the space to score as well. We all know that other people need to chip in on goals, but you just need that focal point at times up front that's just going to be in and around the box to create space for other people. And I think that's important. But it's an interesting month. It's an important month. It's probably the first time in a few years where I'm thinking we need someone here. We definitely need someone. And I think they will get somebody. Get someone in. I don't think they'll hesitate in it. It's just about finding the right one, which is, as Tim says, and we all know here, it's really difficult.
Tim, can I just ask, Tim, do you think Diego Costa could be an option? You know, he's on a free. I think it'd be perfect to slip in there.
I know that he's someone that they haven't discussed yet. And I think probably what counts against him coming in was AB's wages. I mean, I think he was on 270k a week at Atletico Madrid, so he'd have to take a big pay cut. And also his injury record over the past 3 seasons, he hasn't played a huge amount of football. But I agree with you. I mean, a fit Diego Costa, to play for 5 months in this team with his style of play, it would be perfect.
Because you're not paying a fee for him, obviously, so you could whack him with some wages.
That's right.
Try and get him on a short-term deal, maybe.
In his contract, if he was to, he's been released on a free, but if he was to join a Champions League club now, then they'd be obliged to pay 12 million for him. But if it's a non-Champions League club like Wolves, then there would be no fee. I just think with the wages and his injury record, it's not the kind of player that Wolves would normally bring in. However, if they do struggle over the next 2 or 3 weeks and he's still available, he's obviously a George Mendes client, then I don't think it's one you can rule out, certainly.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kite. I think it'd be unbelievable to come in. I think for me, he's perfect for what I would like to see Fabio, for someone to help Fabio come on as well. And I think having someone like Costa around for Fabio to learn to sort of, he's a man, isn't he, Costa?
He's a leader,
he manipulates his body well up front. He uses his body well. And I think that's something that Fabio needs to learn as well. And I think having someone like a Costa to learn off and to play with and improve off would be perfect. It'd be perfect. Obviously, what he brings on the pitch as well will be incredible. But I've not seen his injury record lately. But someone like that would be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, they need somebody, don't they, who in theory can hit the ground running. Perhaps I would suggest as well, which might go against Diego Costa. They need somebody who's going to be able to come in and play relatively quickly. Thank you very much, Tim. By the way, I love the fact that you've effectively had a halo for the entirety of joining us here on Matchday Live Extra. It's been canonised for 2021. So
it's a good spot, that.
He's a maritime, Tim, I'm telling you.
if you could lock me out of the cupboard at full time, Mikey, that'd be great.
We'll see about that. We'll see how the result goes. Thank you very much, Tim Spears.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Of the Athletic. Good to see you again. Thank you, my friend. It's an interesting situation. We will no doubt talk a lot over the coming weeks before the January transfer window is over. I just want to talk about tonight then, and the interesting element of it, where Wolves' record against Brighton, Tomo, is, shall we say, not the best. And was there a team that you ever played that was your bogey team?
There was teams that you thought about, like you can never get a result against them. So, like, there's a couple of times, like Barnsley, like a team, I think they come to Molineux the once and give us a little bit of a hammering. So, like, and you think, like, teams like that, you think that Wolves should be beating them. No disrespect to them. But, yeah, you do come up against a team that just things don't work out for you, or you're thinking, oh, are we going to score against them, or are we going to get something out of it today? And you do have it in the back of your mind. But, like I say, I think that Wolves come here tonight, and I think that the need to put behind them what's happened in recent weeks and the results that have gone against them, because there has been some decent performances. They have played reasonably well without scoring, and that's the problem. But I think they'll be attacking this game with everything they got tonight. I think that they're showing it in the formation that they're playing. I think that they're trying to play as much attacking players as they can, and they'll go out and have a go at Brighton tonight. I'm hopeful that they are going to get the right result.
Well, listen, the Wolves have never beaten Brighton in the top flight in 10 attempts. They've haven't won in any of the last 6 meetings. They only won once visiting here. Carl Ikeme played in the game, and I'm actually, for once, Keems, going to big you up here. No tricks.
Just for once?
No,
Is that just for once?
No tricks,
Yeah, exactly,
no pranks or anything like
It's
that.
It's New Year resolution.
Yeah, you'll change it tomorrow.
Yeah, but didn't you make an unbelievable double save late on in the game and we won 1-0? 1st of January 2016.
I was about to say, I know you were talking about Brighton being a bit of a bogey team, but I remember that game, and I spoke to Matt Murray last night. Actually, he texted me to say it was the he remembers being at the Brighton game, and yeah, that was a great memory for me personally, because I think I got man in the match that day. But it was a great result for us as well. But you do have teams that are your bogey teams as well. I remember Derby. For some reason, we used to get stuffed every time we played Derby. It'd give me nightmares after. But I think the circumstances at the minute, I think we're going in with good form. I'm not too sure how much it would be in the back of the players' minds, but I've got good memories of the Amex just for that reason. But you do have teams that are your bogey teams for some reason, but I don't think it will play a part tonight.
Michael Kightly, very quickly, did you have a bogey team?
I did, and it was that horrible team down the road that we all don't like.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on.
Let's not talk about them.
Whatsoever. we all know that. We need a bit of positivity for 2021. We need some goals as well. So we thought there is only one man that we can bring in, the legend himself. If you need goals, you have to go to Steve Bull, although I can see he's trying to connect to audio right now, and he's going to need his missus to come in and sort this out for the time being, because we all know Bully isn't going to be able to sort that out himself.
What are you trying to say?
You can see, this is brilliant because we can see him, but he can't hear anything that we're saying at the minute, and he hasn't connected to audio either. So we'll come back to Steve Bull in just a second. But when we look at Michael Kightly at Brighton at the minute, we talk about them being a bit of a bogey team for Wolves. This is a glorious opportunity, isn't it? They're struggling. They haven't won at home all season. I think they haven't won at home in 12 attempts. So if you're going to come here and stand a chance of winning, despite the fact we've got players out, you've got to look at it tonight and go, this is the chance.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you look at both teams, you'd take our team all day long. I know we've got a few players out, but for me, we're much stronger than they are. Obviously, it's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be an easy ride just because they're on a poor bit of form. But I think with the players that we've got in our team, we can definitely win this game. I just hope that we don't look a bit jaded and a little bit tired after the United game, because we really did put a shift in that game. So I'm just hoping that we've got enough in the tank to see us through tonight.
Here he is. I think he can hear us now. The master goal scorer himself. We needed goals. We called for Bully, and after some intervention to sort out the line, we've got him. For Steve Bull. Hello, my friend. Happy New Year to you.
How you doing? Happy New Year to you all as well.
Hey, mate.
Hey, what, mate? They're giving you stick here, Steve, I'm telling you.
Why are they giving me stick? What have I done wrong?
Said something about that turtleneck, I think. I heard him say.
One of these.
I think technology have to get your missus to sort it out for you, mate.
Steady. Hope you're all good.
Bully, we've just been talking about bogey teams and Wolves kind of struggling against Brighton. I'm not sure how many times you'd have played against them, or how many goals you would have got against Brighton out of your 306.
There was not many, as Tomo can recollect. We didn't play him very much because it was a bit further up, and it was a bit of a bogey team. But I think nowadays the bogey thing goes out the window, because I think the players just look at the league now and think, well, is it Palace, is it Everton, is it Man U, is it Tottenham? They take every game as it comes, and they don't see it as a bogey game like we used to.
We're talking about needing goals. Obviously, you scored quite a few. What are they missing at the minute? And we know they've got not missing Raul Jimenez, but what are they missing in terms of those who are playing the games currently?
Oh my word! What can I say? I think since Raul's gone, there's been a massive blow, and I'm getting frustrated as well myself, as the consistency of the side is not week in, week out, and nobody knows who's playing, where they're playing, what they're doing, what's going on. The key to our success over the last 2 years is having the same team week in, week out, week in, week out. Yes, you're going to get injuries, but when you got a major blow like Jimenez, you get somebody on standby, or that is the main priority. That is the main priority now, because you can't go on a football field without a strike on the field. Yes, Silva's come in. You can see him developing. He's very, very young, and the miss he scored against was at Tottenham, the 4 yards out. A natural striker would have put Per behind the ball and gone, get in there, have it. But he's got to learn, and he's one for the future. But we need somebody sooner rather than later.
On Raul, you actually sat down with him and did a fascinating interview when he signed his new contract. What did you make of him, having had that time face to face?
Well, it took us about 5 minutes to understand each other, because I'm from Tipton.
He was fluent English
but
as well.
after the Oi, you can't talk. But now we just sat down, and and I said to him, I am whatever. He says, yeah, I'll watch it on YouTube, score some good goals and whatever. And I got to know the inside of it. It was only about half an hour chat with him, but I think he can get to know people like that. And he seemed very humble. He seemed to know what his job was supposed to do, and he gets frustrated when he don't score, and he gets frustrated when he don't get supply of stuff to score, balls to score the goals. But as you say, we've got to push him to one side now. He's there to get better, not sooner. He's got to get better later and come back stronger. So we need to look forward now on what we're going to put up front.
We're just losing the line, so we'll just get one more into you. You are unofficially part of our commentary team now at home games, because we can hear you shouting from the director's box. I mean, you're getting right into this at the minute.
I am, to be fair. I get frustrated as much as anyone, and I think if Tomo hadn't got his earpieces on the microphone in front of him, he'd be shouting as well, to be fair. But I know, but it is frustrating, mate. It's so frustrating, and it's just one of them things. We've seen Wolves over the last 30, 35, 36 years. Me and Tomo have, and we've seen ups and downs, highs and lows, rain and sleet, snow. We saw everything for Wolves. So at this moment in time, I think we are in a good place. We are in a very, very good place, and fingers crossed we're only going to go one way up, and that's it up.
Okay, we'll say we are about to lose you. So, Bully, quick score prediction.
Quick score prediction. I'm going to do 2-1 either way. And Tomo, I do apologise. I can't bring you a coffee today.
It's all right, mate.
I'm in nice and warm.
I'll let you off.
Steve Ball, thank you very much.
No
indeed. Great to have you on Matchday Live.
Take it easy, Bully, mate.
See you, Billy.
And you, Carl.
Mate.
Thank you, mate. Let's get some of the predictions then. Carl Ikeme, you can go first or second.
Yeah, I'm going to agree.
I'm
with
going to copy you no matter what you do now anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Bully. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah. Michael Kightly.
I'm going to go 2-0. Couple of goals and a clean sheet.
That's positivity. Tomo, just going to copy the lads?
No, I'm not. I fancy us to score tonight, hopefully. Fingers crossed. 3-1.
3-1?
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you, everybody, for leaving 1-0 free from me.
Well, we feel obliged to know.
Usual. Indeed. Well, listen, I think we'd take any kind of win here tonight, wouldn't we? But hopefully, as Michael Kightly says, potentially a clean sheet might be a good one. More from Carl Ikeme and Michael Kightly at half-time. In the meantime, teams will be coming out very soon. Don't go anywhere. It's Brighton against Wolves on Matchday Live Extra.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
The Old Gold Club has a new series, My Golden Game. Speaking to former and current players, coaches, managers and fans of the matches that meant the most to them.
It's a club who I have in my heart, and I always keep following it.
I'd been back to Molyneux on a few occasions, and I never got a good reception, and that hurt me a little bit. Not that I thought I deserved better, but maybe because of those two games against West Brom, where I scored 4 goals in 2 appearances.
Check out the series so far, featuring the likes of Jodian Lescott, Kevin Doyle, Neil Emblem and Dennis Irwin.
I was absolutely delighted when they came in from England, and even more so when, after having a tough first 4 or 5 months, that we were on a bit of a roll and ended up playing in this fantastic game.
Old Gold Club, My Golden Game, available now.
Wolverhampton Wanderers is a club with a bright future, but also a shining past. See the history of the club we love, from humble beginnings to the present day, in the Wolves Museum, featuring unique artefacts from our illustrious past and interactive exhibits for kids big and small. The Wolves Museum, open Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. Book online at wolves.co.uk or visit the ticket office.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
A new year, a fresh start. 2020 brought Wolves a European quarter-final, but it ended with a 4th defeat in the last 6 matches, albeit in cruel fashion. So a chance to set the tone for 2021 against a Brighton side who've won just once in the last 15 in all competitions and have gone 12 home games in a row without victory. The Old Gold, though, have never beaten the Seagulls in 10 top-flight meetings. The last win in any competition came on New Year's Day 2016. That is the only time in 11 seasons the home side have lost their opening match of a calendar year. Wolves have made 2 changes from the side that started at Old Trafford on the last game of 2020. It's reverting to a back 4 as well. Max Kilman and Kiana Hoover dropping out. In comes Nelson Semedo and Fabio Silva. Rui Patricio in goal. Semedo, Conor Cody, Romain Saiz and Ryan Aït-Nouri, the back 4. Ruben Neves, João Moutinho and Vitinha continue in midfield. Adama Traore and Pedro Neto either side of Fabio Silva up top. For Brighton, they make plenty of changes from the side that started against Arsenal last time out. Robert Sanchez continues in goal. A back 3 of Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk and Dan Burn, Joel Veltman, Ben White, Yves Bissouma and Solly March across their midfield, with Aaron Connolly, Neil Maupay and Leandro Trossard, their front 3. Brighton against Wolves then, live from the Amex Community Stadium, and hopefully some big performances from those who are not in Old Gold, but in the change strip that looks a little bit like we're watching Portugal.
Well, we've got a certain few Portuguese players, haven't we, in the team? But look, it's a big game, I think. So look, they'll be disappointed from what's happened in recent weeks, and they'll want to put that behind them now.
Yeah, hopefully it's inspiring.
Yeah,
for those of Portuguese descent. Just waiting for the go-ahead to get started here. Wolves looking to get the new season off, get the new year off to a flying start. Didn't quite work out like that at the start of 2020. Let's hope 2021 is better for us all. Wolves will play from right to left as we look at it first half, which means that they are defending the end where the away supporters would normally be. We are sat slap bang behind the Wolves bench. Nuno on the edge of his technical area already, as Aït-Nouri plays it back to Romain Saïs. Across to captain Conor Cody. Brighton in their blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. Wolves in their maroon shirts and shorts and green socks. Or burgundy maybe. And here comes Veltman down the right-hand side for Brighton, getting in behind Aït-Nouri to the right-hand side of the penalty area, lifting his cross. It comes off Cody's head. And Ruben Neves completes the clearance with a second header, lifted forwards again by Lewis Dunk. A little bit more defending to do. Here comes Byrne, big tall centre half. Again, it's Cody who heads it out the penalty area, and Pedro Neto can try and bring things clear.
Yeah, just watching this now. So look, already Wolves had a little bit of comfortable possession, but they're inviting Brighton onto them. But now they're getting a little bit more possession in that second half, well, top end of the pitch.
Vitinha to Aït-Nouri, just over the halfway line on the Wolves' left. Back infield to João Moutinho. A 1-2 with Vitinha. And Moutinho will look to switch the play out to Semedo on the right-hand side, up to the midway point of the Brighton half. Wide for Neto. This is Vitinha again. He will look to get involved in the play as much as possible.
I thought Vitinha had a good game when he last played. I thought he was linked really well, especially in that first half.
There's Traore down the right-hand side. Infield to Semedo. Leaves it for Vitinha to take over. Cutting infield up towards the edge of the box. Teeing it up for João Moutinho to curl one straight at the goalkeeper. Sat up invitingly for him. Just didn't quite get any direction that he needed.
Yeah, I think he just went for placement rather than power, hadn't he? So look, you can see that he just worked it across, coming onto it. Just tried to curl it in. Didn't have enough power to just trouble the goalkeeper.
Decent opening though, and good to see Wolves having a go from distance. You know, it's one of my bugbears that
I think they
don't shoot enough.
We spoke there about that, haven't we? About from distance having an actual effort at goal. Because we've got players in there who can cause problems with the power, the accuracy we've got. And I still think that Neves can offer a lot more in that top third for me.
Coutinho's last goal came down on the south coast at Burnley in November of 2019. So he's more than due.
Bournemouth, you mean? You said Burnley, didn't you?
Bournemouth.
Oh, yeah. It was a great goal, wasn't it?
I said Bournemouth.
Yeah, I thought you said Burnley, sorry. It's okay.
It's because you got your hat on.
It probably is, mate. Needs it on. Need it on.
Here's Aït-Nouri up to Fabio Silva. Pedro Neto all puts one through the legs and gets away from a second as he drives deep into the Brighton half, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Neto still going. Couldn't get his strike on target. Went near post this time instead of a cross goal like he did late on against Chelsea. He was threatening Pedro Neto. He made it all himself here.
Yeah, I'm just watching the replay. So was he 2 or 3 players? I don't know if he just caught his leg on when he's swinging to shoot there. But he did brilliant to start with, didn't he, to get away from everybody. Yeah, he just didn't get his foot around it enough, did he? Neto was unlucky. A great run.
He's had a strong season, Pedro Neto.
He's got better as he's gone along, hasn't he?
Veltman delivering it forwards. Away by Cody. Aït-Nouri to Moutinho. Back to Saïs, who's 10 yards from his corner flag near the byline. To lift it to halfway. Fabio Silva just beaten in the air. Veltman trying to play it in behind, but Aït-Nouri should have a little bit more time to get across to the ball. Under pressure from Mopé. Closes down Saïs' clearance. Came back off the Brighton man and will be a Wolves goal kick. Say it is slightly strange conditions. It just feels a bit more quieter inside this stadium than it probably has in others.
It does for some reason.
So there's not a lot nearby.
Well, you touched on it a little bit before the game, though. So there's no music at all, was there, before the games?
Only a little bit when.
Yeah, but usually we come and there's music on, isn't there?
Yeah, just even more takes away from the feeling of this being an event. It is an event for those who are on the field. Veltman throwing it towards Mope. Neves trying to close in here against Trossard, doing enough to win possession back. Matinho to Aït-Nouri. A little deflection as he tries to lift it over the halfway line. Fabio Silva's not going to give that up. Right, all pressure on making a nuisance of himself.
That's a good play though, isn't it? So look, that's what he's got to do.
Webster almost presented it to Traore. Basuma out to the left-hand side for March. Send it back deeper to Dunk. Basuma taking over. Midway inside the Brighton half, coming towards the centre circle. Taken on by White. Now Basuma again out to the left-hand side. Solly March in miscontrols, and it'll be a Wolves throw.
Well, I think it's been a promising start from Wolves. So they look sharp, haven't they? So they look like they're taking the game to Brighton. So we've had Neto, who's done a couple of runs. Look, they had that shot from Matinho. I think they've to the two sides. I think they're the side that have settled in a little bit more, or a little bit better.
Semedo gets the ball back from João Matinho and looks to switch the play now to Aït-Nouri. Fullback to fullback, and Aït-Nouri driving over the halfway line. Out to Neto on the left-hand touchline, midway inside the Brighton half. Infield to Ruben Neves. Now to Connor Cody. Trying to hit one of those long diagonals out towards Traore. Dan Burn got a touch on it. And Traore will just let it go behind for Wolves' first corner of the game.
Yeah, see, I think that's a good ball from Connor Cody there. Just trying to get at the back of Burn. Because if he misses it, Traore's got the ball, but he says he's ended up putting it out for a corner.
Wolves with an opportunity to send Saiss and Cody forwards from the back.
Well, we've seen Saiss on a number of occasions, haven't we? His movement and getting across in front of people. Got his goal against Tottenham. He's unlucky against Man United. What, do you have 3 opportunities?
There's the corner, left footed from the right hand side, dangerously whipped into the near post, just headed away. Matinho finding Semedo. Wide again to Pedro Neto. Back to Nelson Semedo, who looks to cross from a deeper position. Saiss got in there again, and it will be another Wolves corner. Came off a Brighton head last, and Wolves looking very threatening in the opening 10 minutes here.
Yeah, it's great balling from Semedo, wasn't it? And again, it's that man's size just getting in there. But Brighton are arguing, saying it's a goal kick, but you could clearly see from here that it was a Brighton player that headed it out. Great ball in.
Neto across to take the corner again. Left-footed from the right-hand side. Matinho is 10 yards short from him. Semedo, Vitinha, and Neves all outside the penalty area. It goes short to Matinho, looking for Neto again on his right foot, attempting to cross, blocked off. Another Wolves corner, third in quick succession. Matinho is going to take charge this time and take it right-footed. Wolves have 4 players in the penalty area, but they're all inside the 6-yard box at the minute.
Yeah, and then you got Aït-Nouri and Neves and Vitinha just on the edge.
Matinho, right-footed, lifting it back. Connor Cody was close to it. That came off Webster. Got some real height in their back line. Brighton, as Neves plays it all the way back to Patricio. Burn, Duncan, Webster are all, 6'5" or more.
Well, Burns the biggest of the lot, isn't he? He's 6'6" or something. Oh.
Fabio Silva with a flick on. Traore giving chase. Dunk there first. Back to the goalkeeper, Sanchez. Was it short to Webster? We have played 9 minutes at the Amex. Ball that Wolves defence have to turn and chase back towards the corner flag. Saiss trying to play it short to Aït-Nouri, who was a little bit closer to him than he realised, and ends up being a Brighton throw. It's those little elements, isn't it, sometimes? It's a little bit of sloppiness that creeps in.
Yeah, and it is. And so I thought that was a good play from Saiss there. I thought that Aït-Nouri could have done a little bit better with it, but that's what they've got to try and get rid of. So like those little things that give the ball away or give it to the opposition.
Here's Webster up towards halfway. Brighton towards Trossard. To Veltman on the right-hand touchline, 40 yards from the Wolves' goal. Back to Webster. And to feed it infield to Basuma. Closed down by Matinho. On to Burn, helping it out wide left to March. Back in field to Basuma. Wolves doing a decent job of pressing high.
Yeah, they're doing well, aren't they? So look, and again, it's something that they've always been strong at. He's having that formation out to possession with the ball. He's done really well.
Mope with the flick on, but Saiss will get there first in his own penalty area, looking to scoop it towards Fabio Silva. Hits his back, and there's an easy collect for Webster.
See, little things like that would go against you. So look, he did really well there.
Trossard trying to run in behind down the Brighton right. Cross took a little deflection off the back of Aït-Nouri, and Saiss found Neves. Fabio Silva trying to hold off his man, and he should get a free kick, and he will do.
Yeah, that's a good play from him, because that's what he needs to do. So look, he's just to hold that ball up, encourage the challenge to come in as he did there. So shielding it well, and look, we've said about him. So he's a young lad. He'll learn from this team. There's experienced players out there who'll teach him. He'll learn off Raul when he comes back. So he's only going to get better for me. So look, you need somebody up there at the moment though, just to help him, I think, or just to rotate round with him.
Aït-Nouri on the left-hand side for Wolves, into the feet of Neto, back to Aït-Nouri, just sort of halfway. Vitinha finding Ruben Neves, trying to play it infield to Matinho, who had to flick it first time because Dan Burn was closing in. Brighton getting possession back comfortably.
Yeah, forced it there, and they didn't need to, did they? So look, Matinho really couldn't do anything else with it because he was getting closed down.
Webster over the halfway line, away from Fabio Silva and Neves, and now finding Trossard, right-hand side, trying to go on the outside of Aït-Nouri, who's held him up. Trossard, though, loses his footing for a second, left-footed cross in towards the near post and turned in. Rui Patricio tried to reach it, didn't quite get there, and Aaron Connolly, the cross in front of him, just had to stretch out a toe and turn it in from close range. 12 minutes gone, Brighton 1, Wolves 0. First real effort that Brighton have had in the game.
Well, it is. It's the first real attack, isn't it? Got to try and stop the cross out. Trossard's it's a good ball in. Connolly's on the move. So you see Patricio coming out to it. It's a good area where he put the ball. It was difficult for him to come to it, and Connolly was just able to get his toe to it and knock it over the top of Patricio. But we've got to try and stop that ball coming in.
Yeah, had a couple of opportunities to do so. And nobody went with the run of Aaron Connolly. I don't think it actually really touched the ball until that moment.
No, but he's somebody who's always going to be lively around that penalty area. But you look at a couple of things there. So like trying to stop the cross, and also as well.
Here's Traoré down the right-hand side. I'll come back to Tomo in a second as Traoré up against Burn. Nearly forgot the ball, trying to wriggle his way through two players. And ends up losing out on possession. And then fouling Adama Traoré out on the Wolves' right-hand side. Well, they've had to come from behind so often in the last couple of years. 2021 appears to be no different.
Well, we spoke about clean sheets, and again, we've conceded. Is it the last 10 games that we've conceded? You said the Crystal Palace game was the last clean sheet?
Yeah, they've
10 games.
Conceded the first goal in 11 of 17 matches this season. Yeah, that's part of what's going on, really, isn't it?
It is. The thing is, though, you keep clean sheets, at least it gives you an opportunity to win the game still. But if you keep conceding, which we have done, then it's just an uphill challenge for it. Look, we've said it time and time again, there's characters in this team and there's quality in it, but it doesn't make it hard for you.
Neves trying to lift one over the top for Neto to chase down the Wolves' left. Webster stuck with him and stretched out his right leg, turned it away.
Yeah, it just bounced up nice for Webster, didn't it? So look, he just needed to skid on a little bit more for Neto, because I think he would have got him with his pace.
Wolves' powers of recovery are usually pretty good. 40 points from losing positions since 18-19 season. Only Liverpool and Man United have picked up more in that time.
But it don't have to make the game difficult for you, though, doesn't it? If you're doing that every week, every game.
Especially at a place like this, when you have to try and break down a stout defensive unit. Aït-Nouri, though, trying to do just that down the left-hand side. Low fizzed the ball in, and Dunk turning it away from inside the 6-yard box for a Wolves corner, quarter of an hour gone.
Yeah, good play from Ait Nouri on this left-hand side. So he's got 3 Brighton players around him. Yeah, you can see Fabio Silva there just behind him. Keeper coming out as well.
Only Man City and Liverpool have conceded fewer shots than Brighton in the Premier League this season, so they are pretty stout defensively. Moutinho with a corner, right-footed from the left-hand side. 4 to aim for in the penalty area. It's whipped in, it's headed away by Brighton, head to the edge of the box. Connolly flicks it on. Moutinho helping it to Semedo on the inside right, further wide towards Traore. Infield to Fabio Silva. They're trying to play a 1-2. I don't know whether it's a better option just to hold the ball there, Fabio Silva.
Yeah, but also as well, even in this first 17 minutes, we haven't really got Traore in the game. Hasn't really had a run at the ball.
Neves, here is Traore, up against March, trying to drive infield. Traore went past 2, then found Semedo. As his route to goal was blocked by the imposing frame of Dan Burn. Cody, just short of halfway to the right of the centre circle, and to switch it high out to Ait Nouri. Now Neto. Infield to Vitinha. Ball took a deflection. It was awkward for Webster to deal with. Back to Sanchez. It's his clearance. Trossard trying to hold off Moutinho and does so. Saiss getting control of it. You could hear Connor Cody shouting there, easy.
Yeah. And that's before the ball's even come to him, so it gives him enough notification about what he needs to do with the ball, Saiss.
Now it's for Traore. Back to Cody. We'll leave it for Moutinho, just inside the centre circle. Over the halfway line he comes, looking to his left. First to Saiss. He's got Ait Nouri outside of him. Ryan Ait Nouri will help it on its way to Neto. Back infield to João Moutinho. Brighton fairly deep at the minute. Wolves are going to have plenty of the ball here. And Ait Nouri, a little bit of trickery with his footwork, finding Neto to his left. Neto back infield to Moutinho. Again, trying to switch the play for Semedo. Now out to Traore, his turn to try and find a way through. Traore outside of his right foot, delivering a cross, cleared out to Moutinho. Teed up for Neves, who flicks it up and hits it on the volley, and it was dipping.
Yeah.
And it took a deflection. Didn't quite dip enough to trouble the keeper, but it will earn Wolves another corner.
Yeah, some good players, El. Patient. Just keep possession of the ball. They're trying to work that opportunity, aren't they, just to get an effort at goal. Just didn't work out, but again, I would still like to see Traore a little bit more into the game. Neto's had a couple of runs down this left-hand side.
João Moutinho with the corner, right-footed from the left-hand side. Can he pick someone out in the penalty area this time? Both arms in the air. Few making runs towards the near post. It goes to the far post. Semedo was arriving. He got half a connection. He's got to the second one, lifted it into the danger zone. Saiss's header! Oh, brilliant. Super header, looping it back where it came from, and he gets Wolves back on level terms. Semedo did well to keep it alive in the penalty area, stood it up to the far post invitingly for Romain Saiss for his second goal in 3 games. They get Wolves back to 1-1 on the south coast.
Oh, what a header. What a ball, though, from Semedo. So you thought his opportunity gone because he tried to volley it. I think it was Burn who come rushing out to him. But great ball, great header. Headed it back for where it's come from. And we said there's a danger in the box, and he's just shown you again. Oh, keeper no chance, Sanchez.
Here's Wolves' big danger man at the moment.
He is. He's
his third goal
lethal,
of the season.
I say, opportunities that he's creating for himself. He's getting on the end of things. Well, that was like a striker's header, wasn't it?
Steve Ball would have been proud of that.
Oh, he would have done. The composure that he had to actually head it to where it was, that was probably the only place he could actually score.
There's Trossard on the right-hand side again for Brighton. Now to Veltman. It's it back from White and plays it all the way back to Dunk on the halfway line. Comes a different game again. Important to get back on level terms so soon. 20 minutes played.
It just shows you the belief that they have in themselves in it. With the no, they don't get worried. They don't start to rush things. They don't force things. They know if they keep playing, they'll create opportunities.
Webster infield to Dunk. To Dan Burnott, just short of halfway.
I know it's going to sound silly, but I say, like, apart from the goal that Brighton have scored, Wolves have looked pretty good in this first half.
Another long ball for Wolves defence to try and deal with. Mope chasing, but Cody will make sure it goes behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, he did well there, didn't he? So the run of Mope, so just let it drop over his head.
Big hello to Sam, Brighton Wolf, checking in literally down the road from us. David Roll cooking up a late breakfast. 3 inches of snow on the ground and cold. Hopefully no emergency calls during the match. Wolves to win 2-1 is David Roll's prediction. Rob in Calgary says Happy New Year. He's gone for 1-1. Mainly he says because of the bogey team and half the starting lineup being out injured. Rich Frampton need a win today. Sat with Liz. Veltman trying to run in behind Pedro Neto, firing his ball through the penalty area. March getting to grips with it, just still inside the box on his left foot. Semedo trying to show him it was a right-footed effort, and Saïd's got a deflection on the ball, helped it through the penalty area.
It's going to be a booking. Sumer, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nuri trying to break clear, and Basuma might have got a touch on the ball there.
I was just about to say that to you. I'm just looking at the replay. I thought he got a little touch on the ball, and I think their staff think the same as well. It's pretty close to us.
Maybe a touch unfortunate there, Basuma, just short of halfway. Wolves with the free kick. Coutinho back to Saïs, to Connor Cody. Midway inside his own half to Ruben Neves, he'd pulled to the right-hand side. Mope closing him down. Back to Cody. He's looking to hit a long diagonal out to Semedo, who's forwards inside the Brighton half. His pass infield that goes straight to Basuma. Basuma away from Vitinha. Across the centre circle for White. Fabio Silva snapping away at him, trying to win possession. Veltman under pressure from Neto with an awkward one back to Webster, and Vitinha spotted it and chased it down. There's a 1-2 with the keeper and looks to build again. Here's Byrne. Back to Dunk. Played 23 minutes of the first half here at the Amex. Connolly's opener cancelled out by Romain Saïs' header. 1-1. As Byrne looks to knock a long straight one again up towards Connolly, who nods it down, but Semedo's there to clear first time. Dunk chesting the ball down to White. To Webster. Across the centre circle for Dunk. Back again to Webster. Wolves turn to get a little bit deeper as Webster comes over halfway. Closed down by Matinho, goes back to Lewis Dunk.
Just need to be careful about Connolly because he's the one who just plays on the shoulder of the last man. He'll be looking for that ball just down the side.
They've been quite direct, haven't they, Brighton?
Yeah, they have. They've gone a couple of times with a long ball, which we've dealt with so far.
Basuma gets it back from March, a couple of yards outside the penalty area, looking to the right. Invites Webster into the attack. Webster trying to dink one into the penalty area, an overhead kick and a smart save by Rui Patricio. Aaron Connolly it was who bent backwards and fired it at some speed at Patricio.
Well, yeah, so it was a good effort from him, wasn't it? But look, fortunate, he was straight at him.
Saïs to clear. Webster getting control of it. Matinho with a foot in. Here's Vitinha to Neves. That's to Semedo. Ruben Neves taking control. Midway inside his own half. To right inside to Semedo again. Backwards to Cody. Now Jean Matinho comes short to pick up the ball. Low one out to the feet of Rayan Aït-Nouri. 1-2 with Pedro Neto. Infield to Vitinha. to remain Saiz. Wolves' turn to ping it around, but not quite able to get moving down the field at the minute. They will do now as Saiz tried a long one, but
that's unlike him as well.
Through to the keeper.
He's usually got a reliable left foot, hasn't he? You can see what he's trying to hit. So like Neto just coming a little bit short and then spinning. Tried to hit into the space, but just pulled it a little bit, didn't he?
It's Webster, who's lost out on possession, but Pedro Neto just caught him as he went by. Free kick Brighton. About
I'll tell you what, he's a little bit unfortunate there because he's read it. White's just had his touch a little bit too strong. And unfortunately, so he just a little bit strong past Neto, and he kind of read it. But ended up just getting a little bit of a touch on White and ended up giving away the foul.
Fabio Silva chasing. Trossard backwards to Dunk. Trossard nearly miscontrolled in the centre circle. Moutinho was right behind him.
He was. He couldn't afford to make any mistakes there, could he? Straight after him.
Dunk out to Veltman on the right-hand side, deep in the Wolves' half, playing it on down the line for Trossard. Saiz had come across. Oh, and Neves got fortunate because he tried to nip in front of Neal Maupay and missed it, and it hit Maupay and went behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Maupay was a head in hands moment then, I think. He knows that Neves missed it.
Moutinho did well to clear under pressure. Fabio Silva found Coutinho, who drives over the halfway line to Neto on the left-hand side. Looking to cut back in field. Support is there. Firstly from Ruben Neves, midway inside the half, helping it on to Nelson Semedo. Infield to Neto again. He's got Traore out to the right-hand side. Here is Adama Traore. Back to Semedo. Manages to get away from Maupay. Basuma was challenging, and it will be a Wolves free kick.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he needs to be careful, Basuma. So look, he's had a yellow card already.
Semedo just had his arm around him, didn't he, really? Basuma just got a grip of Nelson Semedo and pulled him back. We've got Neto and Moutinho stood over the ball. It's a fair old distance out. The ball is a yard or so outside the penalty area, and it's quite a way to the right-hand side. Cody, Saiz, Fabio Silva and Traore all in and around the edge of the box. Moutinho, Neves and Aït-Nouri wait outside of it. Moutinho has two arms in the air. It'll be he right-footed who plays it short for Neves. Referee got in his way. Neves curling one wide of the far post. I think there could well be some genuine complaint about the referee's positioning here, because if he's not stood right in front of Ruben Neves, he could strike it first time.
Well, I think he was disappointed. I think he said that to the referee while looking at the replay.
Very similar to the goal Ruben Neves scored against Aston Villa, his last Premier League goal. Free kick in a fairly similar position. Chris Kavanagh clearly didn't watch that game.
I was going to say clearly. It's a strange position for the referee to be in, wasn't it? Just standing there right on the edge of the box, especially when we've got a couple of players on that area. But I agree with you. I think that he's that ball's coming to him. If the referee's not in the way, so he's striking that first time, where I think that it gives him more time to actually hit the target because he had to have a touch.
White playing a high one deep into the Wolves' half that'll bounce harmlessly behind for a goal kick. You talk about things not quite going Wolves' way. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Get out of the way, ref.
You got the referee marking you now.
Saying hello to Jared Kelsey watching in Texas while enjoying pizza for lunch. Get in touch, use the hashtag Wolves Live. Mikey Burrows at Wolves on social media as Veltman goes running down the Brighton right. Saiz dispossesses him. Trossard back into his own half to Dunk. Cross for Webster. Over the halfway line, Byrne. Back in field to Dunk. Fabio Silva blocking the route to Webster. It'll go back to Sanchez, who's a long way out of his goal.
They've done that well, so Wolves. So when they've blocked off the switch for Brighton, they made it difficult for them to actually switch the play and just get on down the sides. They've tried to keep them out the one side.
Trossard, Maupay, out to the touchline to Veltman, 40 yards from Wolves' goal. Backwards to Webster, back into his own half, just to the right of the centre circle to Dunk. There's a 1-2 with Ben White. Now Dan Burn taking over. Back to Dunk at the base of the centre circle. Carries it over halfway. I'm trying to find Trossard, who pops up on the inside left. And looking to hit a big crossfield ball towards Veltman. Neto heading the ball away. Veltman back to Webster. Again, Connolly trying to make a run in behind, but it goes to White, who plays it back to Lewis Dunk. Now to Dan Burn. Carries it over the halfway line. Back infield to Basuma. Being chased all the way by Vitinha. To Webster. Driving deeper into the Wolves half. Neto got a touch on it. Finds its way to Veltman though. Veltman being shown backwards by Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, it's good play. It's good play from Wolves. So look, they're not giving him anything at the moment. You can see Maupay and Connolly just on the shoulder. They want to spin, as you just saw an opportunity there.
And Neves intercepted. Saiz back to Patricio, who's a bit hurried.
I don't think he was expecting that. Patricio. I thought Saiz was going to put his foot through it, but he ended up looking to pass it back to Patricio.
Believe it or not, Wolves are just about edging the possession at the moment, 51-49. It's only just dropped from Brighton's little spell in the last few minutes. Traore has it again.
There you go.
Looking to try and drive from deep this time. March tried to get the ball from him. He continues on though, Adama Traore up to halfway. This time runs into Dan Burn. And then plays a slightly strange pass back into his own half that needed Moutinho to come across and head it down to Saiz.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing you don't want to see him doing, square ball like that, just hitting it. Because you look at hit and hope, really. Moutinho did brilliant to win the actual header.
Moutinho, Aït-Nouri. Closed down by Veltman. Referee waves play on as Aït-Nouri lost his footing. Burn carrying it over halfway. And then trying to find March. And March has got the better of Semedo. Up towards the corner of the box. Moutinho read that superbly. Interception. And now Traore trying to get away at speed. Just about gets away from White. And that's a good pass to find the feet of Pedro Neto. Neto's got Fabio Silva in the penalty area. Neto still driving on himself. Left-hand side of the box. Right-footed cross towards the far post. And Burn heading it back and out of play for a Wolves corner.
Yeah, you know, when we talk about, like, say, people running down the wing and trying to get into that box and getting numbers into that box, have a gamble opportunity there for me. Neto running down this left-hand side, and I think that he's saying to somebody, you need to get in there, have a gamble, because it was a great opportunity for him just to hit the ball across, but I think there was only Fabio Silva that was actually in the box.
Well, Wolves have got a few more in the penalty area now, including Romain Saiz, who is trying to hide behind Cody and Fabio Silva, just about on the penalty spot as Neto left-footed from the right-hand side, headed away by Basuma. Moutinho got a touch to it to find Semedo, left-footed cross from deep, will be headed away by Burn. Neves to the loose ball, trying to switch the play. What a lovely pass out to Pedro Neto, super ball. Neto looking to drive at March on his left foot, curling one. Oh, it's going to go in!
Goal.
It's off Dan Burn, it's an own goal, but Wolves are in front. Pedro Neto will get the congratulations. Cutting in field from the right-hand side, hitting it goalwards. Sanchez palmed it out and Dan Burn could do nothing about it. And a massive stroke of fortune. The Wolves find themselves in front.
Yeah, but what a great ball out to Neto from Neves. He's just cut inside, took a deflection. Sanchez, the keeper, one-handed save. Burn couldn't do nothing about it, could he? It's just hit him on the leg. It's gone quick to him, but that's all come from Neves' great ball out to Neto. But the confidence in Neto to be shooting. We spoke about people shooting, having a go. Big deflection. Sanchez didn't do great with it, really. So I'm sure Burn won't thank him for where he hit it to, but give Wolves the lead.
Brighton 1, Wolves 2. We talk about needing a bit of luck at times.
Yeah, but that comes from Neto being confident enough to have a strike at goal.
It's the first own goal that's benefited Wolves since Daryl Janmat for Watford in September of 2019. Here's Vitinha Maybe it'll give Wolves a little bit of a boost of confidence that they need. Coutinho lost possession though. Veltman forwards. Back heel from Connolly, intercepted by Matinho. Neto, infield to Vitinha. Backwards to Saiz.
We just did a big shout from the Wolves dugout, keep the ball. And that's what they need to do.
There's Traore. Up to halfway to Fabio Silva. Now for Vitinha, just to the right of the centre circle. We have played 35 minutes at the Amex Stadium. And with a stroke of luck, Wolves are leading. And they might try and increase their advantage. Here's Neto on the left-hand side. Back in field to João Matinho. Neves and Vitinha exchanging passes. Matinho now finding Neto. Aït-Nouri closed down, and it will be a Brighton throw. Just for a minute or two there, it was nice to see Wolves just looking so much more vibrant.
Well, goals give you confidence, don't they, in your players?
Even if you don't score them.
No, yeah. But I was just saying that you take anything that comes to you. So, look, at the end of the day, just put the team in front.
There's Neves.
But we speak about Neves' range of passing. It was a great ball out to Neto, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so we were right behind it, and we just watched it. A little bit of fade on it, just swinging out to him. But it was perfect.
Aït-Nouri back to Saiz, infield to Connor Cody. Matinho back to Cody, just outside the D of his own penalty area. Just to lift it out to Neves, who's popped up in the right back position. Now to Semedo, back to Matinho. Wolves looking fluid at the moment.
Yeah, just listening to Connor Cody shout, easy shouting to Matinho.
Neto's
gone down.
A whack in the face, I think. Brighton will stop play so he can get a bit of treatment. In the middle of the Brighton half. Might just a run into someone off the ball. We'll see in a second if they show us a replay on the screen. A few players will come to the side and get a drink and some instructions. And the camera inevitably goes to the Brighton goalkeeper.
Second goal again.
Bit of a deflection on it. Robert Sanchez onto Dan Burn. Rather hits Burn's right foot than his left, and he couldn't get his feet out the way.
There's not much he could do, is there? So look, he's just come at him. He's standing still. But I think it's come off. So Tolly, was it? Sorry. And they said, look, he was just the way that it went. But you take everything that comes your way.
Pedro Neto still getting a bit of treatment here, so another lengthy stoppage that will be added on. Officially got 7 minutes to go until half-time.
Look comfortable for me. I think the Wolves have kept possession of the ball. You said they're probably just in front a little marginally with the possession. Just like Traore to get into the game a little bit more for me. Not really offered as much as this left side Neto has.
It's interesting you say that. Traore has just come right over to have a chat with Nuno here. We can see him pointing. I wonder what he's saying. Traore still a little deep in discussion with Nuno down in front of us. What do you think he's saying, Tomo?
I think that Nuno's telling him to be a little bit more direct. He's coming inside where the bodies are. He's got an opportunity with Burn one-on-one. Then if he's on the outside of him, but the more he comes inside, the more bodies they've got. And so, look, and already we've seen it's been difficult for him to get away from anybody. I think if he goes on the outside of him, I say, look, he's got better chance, say, because the players aren't going to get around that quick with the speed that he can do. For me as well, he stops the ball, and I know that he's doing that because he's quick off the mark. But I just like him sometimes just to keep the momentum going, go quick with it.
Looks like a right old whack that Pedro Neto's received. You see a bit of blood there, and mainly from his nose. Try and stem that first and foremost.
Well, we don't want him going off with the form that he's in.
Well, at the moment, Pedro Neto coming towards the side of the field. I think we'll have a couple of minutes more added on at the end of this first half, and it's a very strange first half it's been. Wolves finding themselves behind early on to Brighton's first attack of the game.
Bit of a run of play as well. I think that Wolves are on top a little bit as well, weren't they?
Got themselves an equaliser from a brilliant header by Romain Saiz. And then a quite bizarre own goal, really.
Take everything, mate. You take everything. They're still trying to stop that blood from Neto's nose, though, I think.
Wolves, by the way, one of only couple of teams that haven't scored more than 2 goals this season. I know when we were at Burnley the other week, it was Burnley, Wolves and Sheffield United with the 3. Could tonight be the night?
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Neto's back on. Basuma has it in the centre circle. Development. Wide for Solly March on this right-hand side. Trying to get it from White. Saiz with the clearance. Fabio Silva is caught there by Basuma.
I'll tell you what, how many times? Is that his 3rd one?
You could see Nuno's reaction right down in front of us. And that might be a final warning for Yves Basuma. Saiz's clearance, and Fabio Silva just got there ahead of him.
Well, I think that's his 3rd one where he's giveaway free kicks, got the one booked. So he must be on his last one then. You can't just keep letting him fell people.
Well, we will wait and see. Wolves are going to get a throw out on the right-hand side in the time being. Semedo, a couple of yards over halfway. Heading towards the final few minutes of the first half. Fabio Silva for Ruben Neves. Low across the centre circle to Aït-Nouri. Now here's Neto. Trying to find Fatinha. Just got away from him a little bit.
Nuno, he's just waving his arms up. He thinks Fatinha should have got control of that ball.
March playing it backwards to Webster. Infield to Basuma. Deep in his own half to the right-hand side to Veltman. Looking early towards Connolly and Saiz. What a clever header down. Infield to Cody.
What a great header. He knew everything he was doing there. He knew where Connor Cody was.
Semedo, bit of space to try and drive deep into the Brighton half here. Nelson Semedo has support behind him from Traore. Traore's now going to try and set off. Trying to go on the outside of Dan Burn and still going here. Traore driving down and Burn surely putting him down. Penalty Wolves. Well, right at the end of the first half. Brilliant work by Adama Traore.
Well, there you go. I've told you. Nuno's come over to Nuno saying about going on the outside. And you've seen an example of it there. First time he's really gone on the outside and tested Burn. He was just too quick for him. He's just gone past him, inviting the challenge to come. Oh, yeah. Clear penalty there, wasn't it?
It's Ruben Neves who is taking charge. His last penalty was actually missed against Slovan Bratislava. Has scored 3 in his Wolves career, 2 in the Premier League, 1 in the Europa League qualifiers. Ruben Neves to step up right-footed against Robert Sanchez to give Wolves a 3rd goal. It's Neves who sends the keeper the wrong way. Keeper dived right. Neves went to the left. And Wolves have a 3rd goal at the Amex. Brighton 1, Wolves 3.
Yeah, muchly deserved. So look, again, saying being positive. Say Traore just gone on that outside, and I thought that he's going to be more effective doing that. So he's not running into bodies. He's got one-on-one versus Burn on that outside. The more he comes inside, he's running into Brighton players, and he's just shown an example of there what he can do, what he can cause a threat to Brighton's defence. Invited the challenge, clear penalty, and very nicely executed by Mr. Neves.
And having not scored a Premier League goal in the entirety of 2020, he didn't have to wait long in 2021.
Yeah, well, hopefully many more come.
32 appearances before tonight without a goal, 42 in the Premier League for Ruben Neves. Finally, He is on the score sheet.
Yeah.
4 minutes being added on at the end of the half.
Well, I thought there'd be goals tonight. So look, I'm hoping there's a few more for Wolves.
What was your prediction again?
3-1.
Here comes Byrne down the left-hand side for Brighton. An early cross that Ait Nouri's going to have to deal with. Heads it to the edge of the box. Martino trying to help it on its way. They'll get a second chance to clear.
I think you were laughing at me when I actually predicted it, I think.
Only because you didn't copy Keames like you normally do.
No, don't. You always have 2-1. Felt brave today.
Well, let's hope you're wrong and it's 4.
Oh, yeah, well, I hope I am wrong then.
Mopé, middle of the Wolves half for Brighton. Connolly. Wolves got enough bodies in and around him. Traore couldn't quite carry it away, but the ball will rebound into Rui Patricio. I just think Brighton have tweaked their formation as well. Maybe looks like they've gone to a back 4 now with Byrne at left back and Veltman at right back. March has come over to the right-hand side with Trossard on the left. 4-4-2 effectively.
Well, I was just about to say that Solly March has come out this side. So he's been out on that other one, trying to help Byrne with Traore. And I wonder if that's a little bit of a tactical thing as well, where he was helping Byrne and all of a sudden he gets the penalty.
Traore had to skip over Chris Kavanagh again for the second time getting in Wolves' way.
I'll tell you what, he's doing is a good job man-to-man marking him, isn't he?
There's Ait Nouri. Back to Saiss on halfway. Martino lifting forwards towards Neto. He'll get a second chance to try and play it forwards and managed to whip it to the left-hand side to Ait Nouri. Didn't seem much of a gap to do so, but he found a way through Gian Martino. There's Vitinha to Martino. Back to Vitinha. Into his own half to Saiss. To Martino. Risky. Back to Cody, who made sure he got there ahead of Trossard and launched it downfield. And Ait Nouri starting to give chase.
To be fair, when you think about it, like say, okay, Conor Cody's just got that ball and the Brighton player backed off a little bit, but there was no way he was going to be pulling out of it anyway, was there?
Still about 90 seconds of the first half still to play. Brighton 1, Wolves 3. There's Webster, short of halfway. Martino intercepted. Vitinha into Neves in the centre circle, trying to switch it for Adama Traore, intercepted by Dan Byrne.
Yeah, just didn't need to force it a little bit there. He could have just took his time. Neves, you can see what he's trying to do, find Traore on that right.
Trossard in towards the run of
well
Connolly.
Defended.
Saiss across and seeing it behind for a goal kick.
It's well defended. He's done that a couple of times already this evening, where he's just been able to usher the Brighton player out the way and just let it come to Patricio.
There's Adama Traore. Infield to Neves. For Gian Martino. Out to the left-hand side to Ait Nouri. Trying to go on the outside of March, and he'll win Wolves a free kick. And of course, we've talked so much about Wolves not scoring in the first half of games. They failed to score in the first half of 66 of 92 Premier League matches before tonight, and 18 of the last 26 goals in the Premier League had all come in the second half. And we've had 3 in the first 45 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope we do score in the second half as well. Just add to the tally.
Aaron Connolly is down and needed a bit of treatment. We're in added time of added time.
Well, he's going straight down the tunnel, so he's shaking his head. He's not happy.
Brighton temporarily down to 10 at the end of the first period. And Wolves with a chance to maybe capitalise. As Martino will switch it for Semedo on halfway, out to Traore. On the right-hand touchline, midway inside the Brighton half, trying to knock it past Dan Byrne and absolutely leaves him for dead. And it needed Dunk to come across. And that will be the final action of the first half. And what a strange and incredible first half it turned out to be. 1-0 down early on. Brighton's first real effort of the game. Aaron Connolly nipping in at the near post to give Brighton the lead. But Wolves fighting back. Remain Saiss's header after 19 minutes. Then a Dan Burn own goal just past the half-hour mark. And then Burn giving away a penalty after excellent work by Adama Traore down the right. Ruben Neves took the responsibility. His first Premier League goal since November of 2019. Wolves have scored 3 goals in a Premier League game for the first time in this season, and they have a 2-goal advantage at the break.
Yeah, so I think they've done really well. So went against the run of play with the goal for Brighton. Well took by Connolly, but I think they've looked comfortable. I think that they haven't forced it. They've eased this way back into the game, and they've got the goals as well. Some good goals as well with the penalty just to finish it off. But I think they'll be pretty happy. Apart from conceding that 1 goal, I think they'll be pretty happy with the result of that first half.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because Brighton have been a lot more direct than maybe we anticipated them to be.
But I think the Wolves have dealt with it pretty well. So Conor Cody and Saiss have defended really well. They've read the game really well. So they've got themselves into positions where they know that Brighton can't hurt them, and they've just mopped everything up. They would be disappointed about going a goal down from Connolly, but it just shows you the character what this side's got again. So coming back, great header from Saiss to finish off, deflected goal or own goal, you could say, from Burn.
Well, definitely own goal.
Yeah, it was definitely own goal, but deflected the shot was from Neto. They were saying, but again, how many times do we keep saying they need to shoot more, and it just shows you the example what you do there. Anything can happen and get you that second goal.
Hopefully, there is more to come.
Well, I'm hoping I've got my result wrong, so let them get more goals.
We'll get the thoughts of Carl Ikeme and Michael Kightly in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. This is Wolves TV's Matchday Live Extra.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
The Old Goal Club has a new series, My Golden Game. Speaking to former and current players, coaches, managers and fans of the matches that meant the most to them.
It's a club who I have in my heart, and I always keep following it.
I'd been back to Molyneux on a few occasions, and I never got a good reception, and that hurt me a little bit. Not that I thought I deserved better, but maybe because of those 2 games against West Brom, where I scored 4 goals in 2 appearances.
Check out the series so far, featuring the likes of Jodian Lescott, Kevin Doyle, Neil Emblem and Dennis Irwin.
I was absolutely delighted when they came in from England, and even more so when, after having a tough first 4 or 5 months, that we were on a bit of a roll and ended up playing in this fantastic game.
Old Goal Club, My Golden Game, available now.
Wolverhampton Wanderers is a club with a bright future, but also a shining past. See the history of the club we love from humble beginnings to the present day in the Wolves Museum, featuring unique artefacts from our illustrious past and interactive exhibits for kids big and small. The Wolves Museum, open Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. Book online at wolves.co.uk or visit the ticket office.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
Well. 2021 getting off to a tremendous start so far as Wolves are concerned, leading at the Amex at half-time by 3 goals to 1. Michael Kightly, it's going pretty well.
It is. What a first half. To be fair, I thought even before Brighton scored, I thought we were dominating and we looked comfortable. Obviously conceded the goal, which was obviously not planned, but then after that was the best team by far. And we spoke about it before, and the character of this team and Nuno and the players is been brilliant, and they've shown that in the first half. For me, thoroughly deserved to be leading at half time.
Ikeme, there was some fortune in amongst it in there, but given some of the things that have gone against them in recent weeks, you wouldn't begrudge them that.
Yeah, I totally agree with Kites. I thought we felt it thoroughly deserved. The passing was really crisp, I think, even before we conceded and after the goal as well. I thought we were passing it really well. Been liking how Moutinho and Neves been manipulating the ball, getting the ball out wide to our wingers, and I think we well deserved we deserve 3 goals, but we definitely deserve to be in front and deserve to look comfortable, because I feel that apart from Brighton's goal, I don't think they've really caused us much problems, in all honesty. And I think I agree with Kites, have been very good this half.
Let's go through it. It started with Brighton getting themselves in front, Michael Kightly, through pretty much their first and maybe only real serious attack of the half.
Yeah, as I said, I thought we started the game really well. We controlled the game. I just feel with the goal, when I think it was it Trossard, he slips, and I feel Nate Nori needs to get tight then when he slips and then stop the cross from going in. And they're the little details that we need to improve on to get these clean sheets that we were speaking about before the game. But obviously then after that, a great reaction from everyone.
From the goalkeeper's point of view, Ikeme, it's one of them, isn't it? You've got to gamble to try and get there, and Connolly just got there first.
Yeah, I'd echo what Kite said. As soon as he slipped, that was the time to get really tight to him, and then I felt that the cross just come in too easily. Size positioning weren't great as well, and then I think Ruiz either got to go and try and clatter him, or just sort of go and just try and close the space down. It's a difficult ball because of the trajectory of the ball. It weren't something that was high in the air. It was quite a low ball. I don't even know if it even went over Sice's head. So it made it hard for him to have the time to really come out. But it started from from Nate Nori not getting tight enough, and it made things difficult for Rui eventually.
Because from a goalkeeper's point of view, I guess if you come and don't get it, people criticise. If you stay still and go, well, I'll just try and gamble, and it goes and Connolly pokes it past you, you're going to get the same criticism anyway.
Yeah, as I said, it's the trajectory of it. I think if it's a bit high, it gives him a bit more of a chance to try and make his move to come out. But because there wasn't massive pace on the ball as well, the ball was always, it was quite flat. It was always dying, so it was always going to be difficult for him. So the only chance he would have had is to clatter him and then hope the ball spills out, or just try and get closer to him and stay back a little bit. But it's a difficult decision when it's that wide open in front of you, and there's no defenders in front of it. It's difficult to make that right decision happen so quick. But I was disappointed more with the defending of the cross, and probably say his positioning should be a bit further towards the front post.
Let's go through the Wolves goals then. Michael Kightly, Nelson Semedo, he's trying to volley that, right? And miskicked it, and
great bit of skill that was.
Teed himself up for a perfect crossing position.
Yeah, it was a perfect touch, wasn't it? Yeah, he's trying to volley that, and I don't know what he's done, but it's, as you said, it's turned out to be a great touch. And then, it's a great little ball. Sometimes them little balls are difficult. It's a very delicate little dink to the far post, and it's a great header from Sace. And he's looked really dangerous from set pieces, not just tonight, but over the last few weeks. And it was a really good header, but exactly what Wolves deserved, wasn't it?
So, I mean, Tomo, you and I are kind of right behind where Saïs had headed it from. And from the moment he headed it, I thought that's in, because there's probably few other areas of the goal where he could have got it in, because in trying to get power on it. So he just sent it back to that open corner.
Well, I said to you, that's probably the only place that he could have put it to score. So, it was a great header, because he's headed it back across the keeper. The keeper's just on the floor. He couldn't really go for it, but it was a great ball up from Semedo. Just stood it up there. But we talk about him in the box. He's on the move. He's getting his head to things. He had another effort as well earlier where he nearly got to it. And he's definitely a danger. So, he's... but what a finish. What a finish from him. So because it was difficult, a lot of people in there. And as I've touched on there, so look, there was only one place that he could put it to score, and that's where he put it.
The only other time Wolves have won here, we talked about it beforehand, Carl Ikeme, it was via an own goal. That wasn't as big as an own goal as the one we've seen tonight.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't great from a Brighton perspective, but again, no gets out wide where I think Wolves got a big opportunity on Brighton's left hand side. I'd be surprised if they keep it the same. I'd be surprised if they keep letting Traore and Neto run down that left side. But he cut in and got his shots off. That's what we've been saying all along. Get more shots at goal, create more opportunities to score.
Well, I think Burns.
If you do shoot, you get them fortunate things. Sorry, Tomo.
It's all right, mate. So I just said I think Burns been involved in the 3 goals where Semedo's missed it. He's gone round Burn and Semedo's run round him. So you got the penalty and then you've had the own goal as well. So he's not had a great night so far.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he stays on.
Yeah,
in all honesty, because not hammering him in a way, but it's difficult for him. He's a centre half naturally, and if you've got no one like Troy running at anyone, but I'd be delighted if he does stay on, but he's just getting exposed down that side, and if he does stay on, I'd be urging the team to keep passing the ball to Troy to get out.
I mean, it was fascinating for us because a long time before they showed it on the TV, Nuno and Traore were having such a discussion, and because literally we're 20 rows up behind the edge of the technical area, and I was watching them and saying to Tommy, look, what do you think he's saying? Because Nuno's pointing and doing stuff, and Traore's nodding, and then it was about 30 seconds, 45 seconds later, and Traore suddenly, instead of just kind of going to the byline, he cut in, didn't he? And that was what was devastating Michael Kightly.
Yeah, I actually think Traore's been quite quiet in the first half, as well as we've played. I think he's been quite quiet. I think the dangers come from Neto. And then all of a sudden, just that burst of pace and power. And as we said before the game, he's one of those players that can make things happen. And Dan Burns trying to make a tackle, which I don't know why he's trying to make that tackle there, but he's nowhere near quick enough for Traore. It's a definite pen. So, it's a great time to score just before half time as well to make it 3-1. Whatever Nuno said to Traore there has obviously definitely helped because he got straight into the action.
Right, Brighton are just coming back out for the second half. So, final word from you, Carl Ikeme and Michael Kightly. More of the same, more goals, or do you sit back and protect what you have now? No,
I was. Before we scored, I was actually saying I felt like Brighton hit for the taking, and I feel there's more goals in this for tonight, and it would give us a great confidence boost. We've all spoke about how we've not scored enough, and hopefully I'd go for the neck. I'd keep going for them. I would.
Yeah, definitely agree with Keames there. They're there for the taking. Just make sure we shore things up at the back, like the little mistakes about shutting crosses down and shutting shots off. Keep that tidy, and we can go on and get another couple of goals at least if we want. Okay, boys, thank you. More from Carl Ikeme and Michael Kightly after the final whistle here at the Amex Stadium. Don't go anywhere. Second half is coming next.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
The Old Goal Club has a new series, My Golden Game. Speaking to former and current players, coaches, managers and fans of the matches that meant the most to them.
It's a club who I have in my heart, and
so just about ready to go for the second half here at the Amex. A couple of changes from Brighton at the break, but one of them is not Dan Burn, as Carl Ikeme was talking about at half-time. I'll run you through those in just a second. We're just waiting for Andy Madley, the man in the middle, to get the word from the TV producers that we are good to go. And there we are, underway for the second 45 minutes here. And hopefully the potentially more goals to come for Wolves, although Mopé taking a trip and an early penalty for Brighton. Less than 20 seconds gone at the start of the second half. Mopé driving forwards and João Moutinho the guilty man, and an immediate chance for Brighton to halve the deficit.
Well, that's come from a long ball from the back again. We said they're playing quite direct. Yeah. You can see that he's dangled his foot there a little bit, Moutinho, and just caught Mopé. Yes, he's gone over pretty easy, but there's contact there, isn't that? But that's come from another direct ball from them at the back. Got to deal with it a little bit better.
Mopé against Patricio. Neil Mopé to step up right-footed, and he smacks it straight down the middle. And Brighton immediately get one back. Rui Patricio dived to his left-hand side, but couldn't reach it.
Well,
Brighton 2, Wolves 3.
Well, I tell you what, Nuno's having a go at Traore with that long ball coming up, because he jumped right underneath it. It went straight over the top of his head. And Nuno's asking him the question, why is he misread it as much as he did? Because he went straight, totally underneath the ball.
Well, what a strange start to the second half.
Well, we said we wanted goals in the second half, but not that way.
Brighton with their tails up will try and put pressure on. Traore jumping, Burn just in behind him. Fabio Silva chasing, it'll go out of play.
Well, that's not the start that you wanted, though, is it? And again, you can just looking at Nuno with his arms out to his coaching staff. And he's not happy with what Traore did with that long ball to start off with.
The two Brighton changes, by the way. Andy Sakiri on for Aaron Connolly and David Proper on for Yves Basuma. It means that with their kind of revamped back four, they have Robert Sanchez in goal, Veltman, Webster, Duncan, Byrne, White, Proper, March and Trossard with Sakiri and Mopé up top. Wolves with Patricio in goal, Semedo, Cody, Saiz, Aït-Nouri, Neres, Moutinho, Vitinha, Traore, Fabio Silva and Neto. And if you were late rejoining, any more than 10 seconds late, and you missed Wolves conceding an early penalty. And Brighton threatening to try and come back to 3-3 here as they're on the right-hand side of the penalty, and it needed Saiz to head the ball away. Still not fully clear as Neves gets a foot in.
Well, for me, I think the Wolves were pretty comfortable in that second half, in that first half, sorry. But they've made a rod for their own back by conceding that goal after 20 seconds.
Mopé trying to drive on himself, Aït-Nouri across to clear.
That's staying in.
Right on the line in front of us as Lewis Dunk collects it. Very different game all of a sudden.
Well, that changes the way people think, though, as well, out on the pitch. All of a sudden, comfortable 3-1 at half-time. Concede after 20 seconds. Brighton get the backs up a little bit.
Vitinha close to intercepting. Ball comes through to David Proper. Balls to March. Out to Proper again on the right-hand touchline. Ball's playing from left to right as we look at it. Second half, attacking the end away to our right, where the away support would normally be. Dunk out this left-hand side to Byrne. Deep inside the Wolves half. Back in field to Ben White. Dunk blocked off by Traore, who skips away from the challenge and ends up playing it off Dunk. And it's going to be a Wolves throw.
I was going to say, it's Traore when he's off the pitch.
Officially, 4 minutes have been played at the start of the second half. Brighton 2, Wolves 3.
Well, that's the start that you wanted, is it?
Semedo running the ball out of play. Byrne throwing it in quickly. Cody with a brave header. Dan Byrne again trying to lift it forwards. Cody again with the header away. Traore heading infield to Fabio Silva, who can try and look downfield. And he's tried to hook it across towards Neto. Veltman let it go past and out of play for a Brighton throw. Just a point on the penalty, Tomo. There wasn't a huge amount of contact, and we certainly look back at the Adama Traore one at Arsenal, which was probably pretty similar and wasn't given.
Well, you've got the one with Silver as well, haven't you? So like a Molyneux.
Well, probably a lot more contact, yeah.
So
Eric Dyer on Fabio Silva.
I think that you're just looking at the replay of it. I think that Morpay, when he's gone away from Matinho, once that contact's come, he's kind of left his leg there, hasn't he? And then as soon as it's come, he's just dived.
I just wonder sometimes that if it hadn't have been given, I don't think VAR would have overturned it.
No. But I think that he's waited for the challenge. He saw that Matinho was just coming in with the challenge, and he has left his leg there. As soon as it's come anywhere near him, he's gone down.
Semedo with a throw, just over the halfway line on the Wolves' right. Looking for someone to throw to. Goes down the line to Traore. Trying to hold off Byrne to Semedo. Back to Neves. Further back into his own half to Cody. Zakiri putting real pressure on Patricio.
Well, they've gone with the two up front now, haven't they? With Zakiri as well, with Morpay. Well, they only had Connolly in that first half.
Nouri back in field to Matinho. Switching across to the right-hand side to Semedo. Now Adama Traore. Over halfway, cutting infield away from Dan Byrne. Now checking back and looking to wriggle his way through past two challenges and still going. Adama Traore. Excellent run, low cross. Might come through to Fabio Silva, who tries to turn on his left foot, couldn't quite get his strike away. Semedo, was he brought down? Surely a shout for another Wolves penalty. Andy Madley not interested this time.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be checked by VAR.
Nouri's header on halfway. Solly March trying to come forwards, and he'll get there ahead of Saiz. Infield to Sakiri, who strikes it, blocked by Cody. March trying to bring the ball down. Nouri challenging Brighton free kick. And now we might get a chance to look again at this potential penalty shout right down the other end.
Yeah, so here we go.
Fabio Silva turning. Strong challenging on him.
Well,
Byrne just there ahead of Semedo, perhaps.
Well, I'm just looking here. It's a close one. The block, I think that he just got his toe through his leg, I think. I couldn't really see it there. But they've got to be disciplined now. They've just given away a cheap free kick.
VAR has looked, and they are satisfied that there's no penalty. So it is a Brighton free kick attacking at the other end.
Well, this is something that we don't want to keep giving away with the height that they've got in the team.
Options, right foot and left foot to take. It's the right footer who whips it in. Fabio Silva heading away at the near post. Ben White on the edge of the box trying to lift it back in. Dan Byrne's header
well
actually
defended.
helped clear it for Wolves.
Well defended by him there. Well, I'll tell you what, if he brought it down or hit it any other way, we were in trouble. Good defending from him.
There's Dunk. Mopé's dropped short, just inside his own half, between the left-hand touchline and centre circle. To Trossard, allowed to turn. Facing up against Neves, trying to play it through the middle. Cropper had made the run. Saiz with the first clearance. Semedo's challenge, but it came off his arm. Brighton getting on with things quickly. Mopé, Dan Byrne, left-hand side of the box. Cross deflects off Neves. It's a Brighton corner. And Wolves just need to get to grips with things here in the opening 10 after half-time.
Well, they do. They've changed their formation. So like they're playing with that two up front, and all of a sudden, the urgency is on Brighton, and they say, look, again, they've got two out here. We need to get somebody out. The corner. But they need to get a hold of the ball. At the minute, so like it's Brighton are definitely the team who are pushing things forward.
The Wolves defending. It's a corner now on the left-hand side for Brighton. Solly March. And Trossard stood over it. It's March, the left footer, cutting to the far post. Matinho clearing. Neto was chasing, but he's beaten to the ball by Veltman. And plays it back out to the left-hand side to Solly March. One touch, crossing in all the way through the 6-yard box. And thankfully, Matinho got a vital touch on it. I think that's Dan Byrne that was still at the far post.
It was.
Oh, goodness me. Wolves at goal is living a charmed life.
And we got away with it as well. We were lucky to get away with that. Just watching it again. Solly March, I think it was. I'll tell you what, if he's had a better touch. Yeah, I was just about to say, if he has a better touch or hit it first time, we're in trouble. Matinho just got something on it, and Neves was the one who cleared it.
Dunk playing it all the way back to Sanchez on the edge of his own goal.
Need to get a grip of the game. So confidence is definitely with Brighton.
Well, you wouldn't think that Wolves were leading this game by 3-2, the way things are playing out at the moment.
Well, as the first half went, it's totally different because we looked very comfortable in that first half. All of a sudden, we're well and truly on the back foot.
You can hear John Ruddy a few rows in front of us shouting his instructions as Brighton played the ball out of play on the far side for a Wolves throw. 10 minutes gone at the start of the second half, and what a 10 minutes it's been.
Yeah, they just need to settle things down, don't they? Just take the time with the ball, keep it.
There's Nouri switching it across to Semedo. Finding Adama Traore, midway inside the Brighton half. 3 players around him. Infield to Neves. Outside of his right boot, finding Traore, who continues run. Traore trying to twist and turn up against Burn again. Low cross in towards the near post. Vitinha trying to get something on it. It looped up in the air off Dunk and claimed by Sanchez.
Well, that was a shame. Good play from Traore down this right-hand side. Great ball from Neves. But again, as I said there, I think it was Dunk just got something on it, didn't he? Vitinha. So like, just tried to do a little cheeky flick. But just knocked it up into the air, made it easy for Sanchez in the Brighton goal.
Here is Lewis Dunk. You get the feeling that the scoring is not finished from either side.
Oh,
this game by a long way.
No. Especially after the start that Brighton have had. Getting themselves back into the game.
Semedo being turned and having to go back into his own penalty area. Chased all the way, did well to clear. Dunk chesting the ball down, loose touch though by White, allowed Fabio Silva to nip in. Moutinho to Nouri, driving over the halfway line. White to the left-hand side to Neto, had to check his run. Goes infield to Vitinha, back to Pedro Neto. There's João Moutinho, just let John Ruddy commentate on this for the time being. After the right-hand side to Traore, fascinating hearing him. There's a team man for you, John Ruddy.
Yeah.
Neves wide to the outside for Adama Traore. Down the Wolves right. 2 players with him. He knocks it round. Dan Burn runs past him. He's brought down.
Booking. I'll
Wolves
tell you
get
what,
a free kick and a yellow card.
I think they'll be making a change here. They took Basuna off, I think, because of his yellow card, and he had a couple of free kicks away, wasn't he?
Andy Madley, the referee. It was a late change. It was due to be Chris Kavanagh. He didn't give us any team sheets here, so.
He's had an interesting evening so far, hasn't he, Mr. Byrne?
Yes. It's not a night that he will forget.
And I think that he's just made it more interesting for himself, giving himself that yellow card.
Moutinho and Neto have stood over the free kick. Less than a yard outside the penalty area, a couple of yards from the goal line. Saiz and Cody are forwards. Brighton have brought everybody back to try and defend that penalty area.
Yeah, so you'd be thinking it's just going to the edge of the box.
Neto touches it. Moutinho fizzes it in. Didn't quite reach it. Neves trying to strike it. Didn't get hold of it.
He's hurt his foot. Just benched just a fraction before him. He thought it was going to carry to him, and he ended up hurting his foot a little bit.
Trying something a little bit different. Didn't quite come off.
Just listening to Conor Cody bellowing instructions to the Doma shape.
You heard that. That was Adama Traore blocking the ball. It was like a firework from New Year's Eve. Blimey. That's the noise that comes from the ball hitting Adama Traore's backside.
Yeah, backside it was.
Wow. That was a big bang. This is Neves for Ryan Nouri. Neves turning, trying to pick out Traore. Couldn't quite reach him this time. Dan Burn collecting.
Yeah. Just underhit that one, wasn't it, from Neves? You could see what he was trying to do, and it's the right thing now. I'd try and get the ball out to Traore all the time.
Trossard down the right-hand side. Low cross in, came all the way through to Shaqiri, and it needed a touch from Neves, and Patricio clears it downfield. Webster across the centre circle for Ben White. To his left-hand side to Byrne. Down the left-hand touchline to March. Closed down by Semedo. Back to Byrne. In the field to Dunk. Now finding March. Wide to Mope. Cutting in from the left-hand touchline. Semedo tracking him. Dunk taking over. Back to Dan Byrne. Into Proper in the centre circle. Vitinha closing in. Webster taking over. Trying to drive to the midway point of the Wolves half. Ben White taking it on. Further out to March, just to the left, just cutting it back in field, running along the edge of the penalty area. Trying to turn back, now finding Ben White again. Right-footed cross, no one's tracked the run quite enough, and it's struck goalwards and blocked by Cody. As Trossard's effort was heading towards Rui Patricio's net, it needed Connor Cody to be in the right place to clear.
Yeah, so look, on tenterhooks at the minute, aren't they? So Brighton's throwing absolutely everything at them.
Ball's going to go to a back five, I think. Max Kilman's just been told to get ready right in front of us.
Yeah.
Here's Dunk. Now with March on the left-hand side, up against Semedo. Semedo blocking the cross this time. Expense of a throw. Short of the corner flag. Interesting to see who would come off. There's Ben White on his right foot on the left. Cross took a deflection. Headed away by Saiz. Fabio Silva first the loose ball. And he'll draw a free kick and a chance for Wolves just to maybe catch their breath.
Yeah, so look, again, they're putting a lot of pressure on Wolves' back line, aren't they? With that change of formation, as I mentioned earlier. So they're playing up against them. Proper coming on as well in that midfield role.
There's Aït-Nouri down the left-hand side. Jean Matinho. Vitinha back to Matinho on halfway. Into the feet of Neto, who tried to flick it for Aït-Nouri.
He's got to stick. He's got to stick. He's got to give some relief to his defence.
Only just past the hour mark at the Amex. Brighton 2, Wolves 3. I don't think anyone expected such a high-scoring affair. Penalty for each side in amongst those goals. Again, that's John Ruddy, you can hear shouting instructions, keep the ball. Connor Cody screaming, don't panic to his teammates. And Semedo with the ball in hand. Towards Traore on the chest, couldn't get to grips with it though. Shaqiri nicks it away from him. Mope. Back to Proper inside the centre circle. Wolves with everybody back behind the ball. Comes to Dunk. It's to the left of the centre circle. Low across it for Webster. Webster looking downfield. Not an option on. Has to go backwards to Dunk at the base of the centre circle. Again to Webster. Now driving it forwards. A little bit more room. And then Andy Shaqiri, I think, had run offside and it'll go through for a goal kick. And here comes Max Kilman.
Yeah.
And it's Vitinha who's coming off.
Yeah, he's just getting rid of him. It's a little bit deeper, isn't he? Fabio Silva. But that'll be a change in formation. Besides, he's probably going back into the middle, won't it? Kilman on the left of him, Connor Cody on the right. Semedo, Aït-Nouri, the wing backs. He looks sharp again, though.
Yeah, unfortunate for him.
Yeah, just under the cosh a little bit, aren't they, in this second half, with the start that Brighton had with that penalty after that short period of time.
Vitinha with a little bit longer contribution than he had at Old Trafford the other night. That's Kilman on. There's Semedo. Always trying to protect what they have. A little bit more protection at the back. A little bit more height as well in Max Kilman.
Yeah, and I think that would be the thing that they're looking at. Okay, a little bit more protection at the back, but the height with the size that Brighton are on set plays as well.
Webster for Dunk. 64 minutes played at the Amex. Dan Byrne in possession. Back to Lewis Dunk. Infield, base of the centre circle for Proper. Over halfway to White. Back to David Proper. Neto tried to intercept. It went backwards in the Wolves half. Aït-Nouri to try and clear. maybe proper with it. Wolves just not seeing the ball at the minute, anywhere near enough.
No, we've got to get hold of the ball, haven't we? They're dictating everything at the minute, and they're looking to go forward.
Solly March on the left-hand side. Will touch by Traore, Cody's header away. 64-36 in Brighton's favour, second half.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Wolves had more possession first half. That's been the difference.
Well, they've got to try and swing it around a little bit if they're going to keep Brighton out. If Brighton keep having this much possession, you'd think they're going to have opportunities at the goal.
Sanchez, a long way out of his penalty area, almost midway inside his own half, plays it up to the feet of Dunk. Over halfway into Mope. Backwards to Lewis Dunk. Trying to knock it through the middle for the run of Sakiri. Headed away by Connor Cody. Cleared on by Semedo to Traore. You can hear the shouts of time, and Traore setting off. Fouled there by Ben White. Wolves free kick just over the halfway line.
Yeah, just a shame that, wasn't it? So, look, he got away from him, but I think just the speed he was running at. So Ben White just knocked him off balance, and he just couldn't stay up.
Another change coming from Brighton.
Adam Lallana, isn't it?
Yeah, stripped and ready. There's Kilman. Wide to Aït-Nouri, just over halfway into the feet of Neto. Neto blocked off by Webster. It is a Wolves throw.
The number on the board that Bjorn's holding.
Lallana getting ready to come on. Neto couldn't collect the ball from Fabio Silva, and Brighton once again in possession. Up early to the feet of Mope, who's been much more involved second half.
Yes, hasn't he? Got that. He was involved in the penalty.
March to the left-hand side to Dan Burn, who's come careering forwards. Adama Traore getting back in front of him. Traore losing his footing, though, and ending up conceding a corner.
Oh, did really well, didn't he, Traore, to track him back. And just when he gets the ball, slips over. But again, they're sending the lads up from the back. So you can see that this ball's just going to come straight into the area.
Two men out to take again, March and Trossard. A couple of big boys waiting to run late from the edge of the penalty area. It's Solly March, left-footed, the outswinger. It's a Brighton head, it's off the crossbar and turned over on the follow-up by Sakiri. Goodness me.
Webster, wasn't it?
The first header looping towards goal. Patricio couldn't have done anything about it. And Andy Sakiri, the half-time substitute, really should have got Brighton back on level terms. Webster's initial header. And from what, 4 yards out?
Yeah.
Missed effectively an open goal.
Well, there's the threat that they offer. Anything quality in there is going to cause a problem.
Whilst Dan Burn, by the way, has gone off. Adam Lallana on for him, so Ben White will drop into left back.
We'll just play just behind the front two, won't he, Lallana?
Traore with a flick on. Fabio Silva couldn't get to it. Dunk playing it backwards to Webster.
It's got to stick now, though, hasn't it? It's got to give us some kind of relief up front. Got to try and get hold of this ball.
68 minutes played. It feels like it's going to be a long 20-odd minutes.
It is.
Unless Wolves can restore their 2-goal lead.
Either do that or have a little bit of possession.
Veltman on the right-hand side, looking infield towards Lallana. Sliding challenge by Matinho, but it concedes another corner.
Well,
the last set piece nearly drew the equaliser.
Well, they've got momentum, haven't they, now? They've got the bit between the teeth, Brighton. It's nervous for no, just walking up and down the touchline here.
Again, Trossard and March across to take it. This time it's from the right-hand side. Trossard, the man placing it carefully, the right footer. Looking for another outswinger, perhaps. It is that from Trossard, hanging high. Dunk arriving, heading down and scoring. Brighton back on level terms. Set pieces proving costly once more. It was an inviting delivery, and all it needed was a sweet connection from the big centre half. And that's what he provided for the home team. Brighton 3, Wolves 3. And Wolves' 2-goal lead at the break has gone.
Well, free header as well, wasn't it? He's lost his marker. He's got in between Saiz and Aitanuri, I think. He's come from the edge of the box. I don't know who's marking him. Well, again, they looked dangerous on set plays. Hit the crossbar on the last one. And again, they've got themselves back into that. We've got to do better with the ball. We've got to try and get ourselves back into the game here. But at the minute, so like Brighton have got that bit, as I mentioned, between the teeth, and they're going for it.
Here's Kilman. Might have been a touch off Saiz. That's their header from Dunk. And here's Dunk's goal. And it's Brighton 3, Wolves 3. We weren't predicting this at half-time.
Well, we looked comfortable at half-time, didn't we?
Nori down the left-hand side, trying to find some room to get a cross in. It's going to be a Brighton throw, came off the youngster.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to have to work hard as a collective because it's always difficult to get yourselves back up for it. With the tempo that they've set themselves in this second half, Brighton have come out really sharp, passing the ball.
Just didn't have any momentum, did they?
No, and the thing is, Brighton have got the confidence of that early goal after 20 seconds or so. And it is hard to get yourselves back up after. I thought we played reasonably well in that first half.
It's going to be a Wolves corner here. Nori on the left-hand side, and Trossard thought he'd kept it in. Wolves have got to try and get a swing in the tempo, momentum of the game.
They have. They've got to start to take the game to Brighton a little bit more now.
Kilman, Saiz and Cody are all forwards. Brighton have got everybody back. Martinho stood over it, right-footed from the left-hand side. 19 minutes to play. Martinho's delivery. Goalkeeper comes and claims on the edge of the 6-yard box. Tries to clear it downfield for Trossard to chase. Nori under pressure, and Trossard's got it from him, and referee has decided to give Wolves the free kick, and maybe saved Nori there.
I think so as well. I'm going to see the replay.
Nori under real pressure.
I don't know. I can't see nothing in that.
Oh, I'm not so sure.
No, mate. I can't see anything in that. After looking at that replay, I think he's just stumbled. Oh, we got away with it there, I think.
Rui Patricio to try and clear forwards. Header one in the air by Veltman. Here's João Martinho. Infield to Neves. To Traore. Traore trying to turn away from Ben White. And if he looks up to his right-hand side, Semedo is up there with him. Traore still trying to go it alone here. Traore going down in the box. I think Dunk got the ball. Brighton to come away with it. And Semedo had committed himself forwards. And Lallana now carrying it all the way over the halfway line. Out to Ben White on the left-hand side. Neves having to play right back for the time being. Loose one infield though. Oh, Neto.
It's got a stick.
Needed to control and he just gave it straight to David Proper. It's been sloppy for Wolves in this second half.
It has. And again, so for them being sloppy, it's just invited pressure from Brighton. We looked so comfortable first half and we looked good on the ball. It was sharp. Got some good goals. Fortunate ones as well, but you can't afford to let teams get back into the game like that. 3-1 up.
Here's Lallana midway inside the Wolves half, out to the left for Solly March. One touch, delivers his cross straight into the arms of the waiting Rui Patricio.
Because if they don't get a hold of this game, I'll tell you what, Brighton are going to get another one. They've got to try and stop the supply coming up. They've got to try and work and keep the ball.
Patricio's kick hanging high over the halfway line. Traore challenging with Ben White. White being forced backwards. Traore still behind him. White trying to turn. Traore with a foot in. It'll be a Brighton throw. Ben White's throw infield to Lallana. Being tracked all the way by Neves. Back to Dunk. Trying to put his foot through it. Comes through to Mope. March forwards. Saiz is there ahead of Sakiri. Back to Patricio.
Look, they've definitely upped the tempo. He's just watching them close the Wolves' back line down. they made it a lot more difficult for us to play it from the back. Connor Cody, even in that back four, had so much time, and so did Says on the ball, with Connolly just playing up there.
3-1 down at half-time, and the way the first half had gone, most people were predicting that Wolves would have gone on and got more, but a penalty about 15 seconds into the second half. They Brighton a lifeline, and then they hit the crossbar, and a minute later, eventually another set piece paid off. And Wolves haven't had really any response. Haven't really looked like scoring second period.
No, they haven't. And the fear is Brighton have got those 2 goals, and you can see Brighton have got a spring in the step. They're chasing everything down. Zakiri up front has made it difficult for the back line, so with Mopay. You're just looking at them. They're playing 4 up front now.
Dunk to Lallana. Still inside their own half, Brighton. Webster taking over. Trying to feed it forwards to Proper. They're trying to play between the lines, Brighton, at the minute, and it's working. Trossard cutting in field. Mopay on the edge of the D. Onto his right foot, trying to strike it. Blocked by Cody, who saw the problems.
Got to pick up. As you just said there, playing between the lines, you've got to be picking up. You can't allow them to get their ball in there. You either stop the ball up to them or you pick them up, and we do neither at the minute.
Throwing into the penalty area to Mopay, who thankfully missed it, and it goes through for a goal kick, but nobody picked up Neil Mopay in the penalty area there, and that's a clear example, Tomo, of somebody's got to be sorting this kind of thing out.
Yeah. Got to do something.
Traore on halfway, trying to wriggle away from a couple of challenges towards Fabio Silva. Solly March back there. They'll pull it back for the foul on Traore.
Well, to be fair, he's fighting with 3 of them bouncing off him. But they've got to try and get something into this. The 76 minutes gone. And at the minute, so look, they're on the heels a little bit. They're hanging on. We had a few attacks in that first half, and we looked a threat. Not so much in this second.
Neves trying to lift it forwards towards Kilman. Heading it infield. Fabio Silva let it bounce a couple of yards outside the penalty area. Backwards towards Neto. Neto trying to take it to the left. Support from Kilman. Now to Ait Nouri. On again down the line for Neto, who continued his run out towards the left-hand corner flag. Back to Ait Nouri. And they'll settle for a throw.
Yeah, because that's one of the things as well. I can't recall Neto been in the game in the second half.
Martinho back to Ait Nouri, the throw taker. Trying to flick it down the line. Another throw for Wolves. He's got Neto in field of him. Goes to Pedro Neto. Back to Ait Nouri. Down the line for Pedro Neto. Trying to hold off the challenge of Joel Veltman. Couldn't find room to get the cross in, and Veltman got back in front of him and cleared it downfield. And it will be another Wolves throw. Ait Nouri again to take. Backwards to Kilman. All the way back to halfway to Saiz. Across to Cody. Just to the right of the centre circle. Cody in towards the feet of Traore. And again, Traore couldn't get control. Semedo across with the challenge. Here's Neves. Neves turning and trying to run it forwards and just about worked it out wide to Traore. Looks to skip in field and backwards to Semedo. To Connor Cody on halfway. To Saiz to the base of the centre circle. Early in towards the feet of Fabio Silva.
That's better. That's better control, getting hold of it, bringing people in.
Ait Nouri back to Kilman. To Saiz to the left of the centre circle. Low to his right-hand side to Cody. Being chased all the way by Sakiri. Clearing downfield. White's header picked up on by Neto. Neto skipping away from Lallana. He's got Traore to his right. Ben White trying to get a foot in. Semedo did well to find Neves, who helps it to the right-hand side to Traore. Adama Traore, can he get this ball into the penalty area? 2 Brighton players in front of him. Traore having to look backwards for some support. Going all the way back to Connor Cody. Cody to Semedo. Infield to Martinho. Did well just to hold there and see where the players were around him. Semedo infield to Saiz. Back to Connor Cody. 11 minutes to play. at the Amex. Brighton 3, Wolves 3. Neves popping up on the inside left. Back to halfway to Kilman. Wolves going to have to try and build again.
Well, they are, but at least they're retaining possession of the ball. As I say that, just give it away.
Saiss with a loose pass. Lallana away from Neto. And now Mope over the halfway line. He comes, driving deep into the Wolves half, onto Sakiri in the penalty area. Saiss across in front of him. It'll be a Wolves goal kick.
Well played, Saiss. But they've still got to have some kind of end product at the end of it, haven't they? They had a little bit of possession there, Wolves. Never really went anywhere and then ended up giving possession away. Got to try and get our two lads into it, Neto and Traore, a little bit more.
They don't really have anything on the bench that wouldn't necessarily go to change it. They could hand a first team debut to Theo Corbeanu. He's more of a wide forward.
Well, they could bring Otosewi on. Yeah.
At the minute, it's Brighton in possession. And 10 minutes left to play. And one of these teams going to go on and win this game. Brighton took the lead. Wolves came back and were 3-1 up at half-time. Back to 3-3. And it's Solly March down the left-hand side with a low one in towards the near post. Saiss and Sakiri challenge and the offside flag has gone up against Solly March anyway.
Just going to have to try and sharpen things up a little bit. In from the back. Well, they've definitely upped the tempo, haven't they, Brighton? All across the field. They made it difficult for Wolves.
Traore getting a flick on. Fabio Silva. Ben White made sure it was his as he went effectively through Fabio Silva to get to the ball. It's clearance out of play. It's that level, I guess, of increasing the strength and making sure that things like that are yours. Semedo being forced backwards.
Yeah, he did well there to get something. Lallana. He had nowhere to go. Semedo did really well to get something out of it. But yeah, so getting back to Fabio Silva, yeah, that's what he's going to have to work on. There's different aspects he's got to work on. He'll get stronger as he gets older.
Semedo with a throw. Fabio Silva challenging. Traore couldn't collect. And Traore fouling Lallana. Brighton free kick. They get on with things quickly. Davy Proper just to the left of the centre circle. For Ben White. Backwards to Dunn. We'll go all the way back to Sanchez, just outside his penalty area. 8 minutes left to play. Maybe slightly less. Close to 7 minutes left to play.
I think they're bringing Otosewi on, I think. He just had the call.
There's Lallana, allowed to turn and carry it through the centre circle. Route wide to the right-hand side, blocked off by Neto. Goes left to Mope, who dropped deep. He finds Solly March on the left-hand side, up against Semedo. Trying to run past him on the outside, and he's got past him, and Semedo trying to recover, but March still has the ball, fires his cross all the way through. Proper forwards again to Veltman. Back to Webster, midway inside the Wolves half, crossing from deep. Brave header by Cody, really brave. And Traore now trying to get himself going. 4 Brighton players around him.
Yeah, he's got to give a free kick, surely.
Sakiri got the ball. Here's March again on the left-hand side. Onto Sakiri, left-hand side of the penalty area, trying to fizz it in. It got a deflection, and Saiss getting it clear. Ben White's header. Traore had to try and make that his. It's a Brighton throw.
Well, I thought the referee was going to call it back because he was fell Traore. And the referee gave advantage thinking he was going to do it, but he was always stumbling, wasn't he? Never really got his balance back.
Ben White down the left-hand side. Infield to Lallana. Back to Ben White. 35 yards from the Wolves' goal. Closed down by Matinho. Bring it backwards to Dunk. So much of this is being played in the Wolves' half, as we have just over 5.5 minutes left to play. It's White down the left-hand side on his right foot, trying to feed it infield towards Lallana, who will help it on to Davy Proper. Back infield to Mope, facing his own goal though. Plays it to his left-hand side to Ben White back in field to Mope. Mope trying to strike from distance. I think Neves got a touch to it. Sai's cleared. Neto trying to help it on to Fabio Silva on the halfway line. Back in field to Neto, who slips, loses footing, and Lewis Dunk carries the ball forwards again for Brighton.
Well, that just sums up the second half, doesn't it? So we're going on the break, and Neto, when it comes to that important time, just stumbles.
Here's Ben White. Infield to Davy Proper. Wide again for Ben White. Further on down the line to March. Level with the edge of the Wolves penalty area. Backwards to Proper. Trying to just lift it towards the edge of the penalty area. It's teed up towards Lallana, and Kilman got a vital foot in. Fabio Silva couldn't find a teammate. Neto will chase. Dunk will head it back to Sanchez. Wolves are barely seeing any of the ball at the moment. Listen to John Ruddy shouting instructions. How much it means to the squad. Dunk. That's the left-hand side to March. Down the line for the run of Mope. Cody sliding in. Brighton throw. Midway inside the Wolves half. Change will be made now. And it's Fabio Silva who's being replaced by Owen Otasowie. Maybe Wolves just trying not to lose it rather than trying to win it themselves. Just remarkable how they've ended up in this position.
Well, you can't believe it, can you? So, like, again, the way that we looked in that first half.
Well, here comes Webster on the charge. Blocked off by Saiz, but nobody there to benefit from the little touch that Saiz got on the ball. Webster again. Veltman being forced backwards into his own half to Dunk. 3 minutes left to play. Sanchez with the ball at feet. Brighton goalkeeper out of his penalty area. Neto's effectively a one-man up top with Otasowie behind him. Proper. Still midway inside his own half. Infield to Webster, who's got space to try and carry it up towards halfway on the left-hand side of the centre circle. Now finding Davy Proper. Out to Veltman on the right-hand side. Aït-Nouri going to close him down. John Veltman back to Davy Proper. Infield to Webster. Loose from him. It's a Wolves throw and a bit of respite.
Well, at least they put a little bit of pressure on Brighton to make him give the ball away. But, yeah, it is a respite for them, isn't it? Again, we got, was it just over 2 minutes of normal time left? Can we get an effort at goal? Because we haven't really threatened the goalkeeper at all in this second half, sorry.
Aït-Nouri on halfway. Lost out to Proper, got a foot in, but it will be given as a Brighton throw. And Wolves, 3 efforts on goal in the second half, but none on target as Saiz nods it back to Patricio.
Another decent game, Saiz. What I say, but they've had to do a lot of defending in this second half.
Oh, Otasowie needed to get across in front of that ball. In the end, Kilman does well to try and win it back. And Aït-Nouri is taken out by Webster. Wolves free kick. We have 90 seconds of the 90 minutes remaining. Plus time to be added on. So many late goals in Wolves' recent matches.
Fortunately, they ain't gone for us, though, have they?
Well, it did against Chelsea. And it did against Spurs. And Wolves produced something late again to win a game. Lost it late last time out. Neto set away down the left-hand side. And a heavy touch by Pedro Neto. He was driving on. He didn't really have any support anyway, but ball kind of bounced up higher than he anticipated. I think it hit his knee.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think he did. He was past Webster, wasn't he? And he just bounced up and he's ended up catching it with his knee and it was a little bit too strong.
Proper's ball forwards. Zakiri giving chase. Saiz across. Veltman trying to keep it in and has done so. Kilman decided to try and can cushion it on his head, and under pressure manages to clear up towards Otasowie, who's managed to wriggle his way through here. And he was fouled. That's much better for Moen Otasowie.
He did brilliant there, didn't he? Was it Dunk? I think it wasn't Proper who was on him. And he was holding both of them off. 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Only 3 minutes being added on. Here's March over the halfway line. Semedo challenging. Will be a Brighton free kick. Brighton 3, Wolves 3. 3 minutes to go. Semedo and Mope getting involved in a bit of nonsense, and a yellow card for Nelson Semedo. Two benches getting involved in a few things there. You might have heard some unfortunate language from the Brighton bench. In the meantime, Solly March waiting to try and launch this towards the edge of the Wolves penalty area. And it's going to hang high and deep and inviting. And it was a Brighton head down, and Semedo just turning it behind for a corner.
Oh dear. So look, here you go again. I think it was Webster at the back post, wasn't it? Yeah, Webster got up highest.
2 minutes of the 3 still left to play. Brighton set piece. 2 players again out on that left-hand side. Trossard and March. March has generally taken these left-footed as an outswinger, and he does so again, and it hangs high again. Webster trying to climb, that's still not fully cleared. Sai's challenging, goes behind, and it's given as a corner.
Well, I thought that'd come off for Brighton, Ed. It was just an invitation again to put the ball into there. With Trossard and Solly March out there.
Concentration is key now.
It is.
With a minute left to play. Brighton with a corner out on the right-hand side this time. Same 2 players have trotted over. It's Trossard, the right footer, low at the near post. Aït-Nouri trying to clear. Oh, and Aït-Nouri and Neto both missed it. And Zakiri putting it back in the danger zone. Sai's heading to the edge of the box. Webster launches it over the top of the crossbar. 40 seconds left to play.
Yeah. Well, every set play now, isn't it? The look of danger. Defended that one a lot better. Wolves just kept them out. Well, can we get further on at the field? Can we have some kind of effort in this injury time? What's going to be left?
Here's Adama Traore down the right-hand side. Traore looking to drive at pace. Now can he try and pick somebody out in the penalty area? Going towards the goal line. Lifts his cross in. Otasowie heads it over the crossbar. And it was the final kick of the game. Owen Otasowie could have stolen all 3 points. A header 5 yards out, slap bang in the centre. He can't believe it. He sat down inside the goal net. Oh my word, what an opportunity. Brighton 3, Wolves 3, a quite remarkable game. Brighton took the lead in the first half. Wolves got themselves back into it through a header from Romain Saiz, a Dan Burn goal, and then a Ruben Neves penalty had got Wolves 3-1 up at half-time. Brighton came out and started so strongly in the second half. A penalty awarded after only around 15 seconds of play that Neal Mope converted. Dunk's header with 20 minutes to go made it 3 apiece. Brighton pushed and pushed and maybe looked the most likely to try and get the winner until that moment in the very final second of the game. Wolves could have got it all 3 points. It ended Brighton 3, Wolves 3, and it's a game that we won't forget for so many reasons.
Oh, it was. So, look, after being so comfortable in that first half and looking good, to concede after, was it 20 seconds, a penalty, making it 3-2, and all of a sudden you see the change and the swing in the Brighton play. And they say, without doubt, so like Brighton with the team that were pushing forward, got that equaliser. And you thought at one moment that you were going to concede, but they were able to hang on. And as you just said there, Otasowie got a chance, didn't he? to win it at the end.
Well, I mean, given the fact that they were 3-1 up at half-time, Tomo, I guess you would maybe suggest that it is 2 points dropped rather than a point gained. But given the way that second half panned out, they maybe were a touch fortunate to hang on in there.
Yeah, it is. And again, Brighton probably will be really pleased with getting themselves back into the game. I think that Wolves will probably feel like it's been a defeat after having 3-1 and looking that comfortable in the first half. And they did look comfortable. Now you can see the disappointment on the players' faces going back in.
Owen Otasawi, a very slow, long walk off field there. Looks absolutely heartbroken. And John Ruddy is there waiting for him at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
To give him a little bit of consolation.
Well, he'll be disappointed with himself. That's the thing. So, look, nobody's going to blame him, but he'll be disappointed in himself. That's the thing. He's sat in the net. I think one of the coaches had to go across and get him to come back. But, like I said, they've come away here with a point and the seller, but they'll be disappointed because they should have had all three.
Well, we'll take a short break and we'll get some reaction from Andy Thompson, Ikeme and Michael Kightly here on Matchday Live Extra. Wolves were 3-1 up at half-time. They've been pegged back. Brighton 3, Wolves 3. Reaction to come.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
The Old Gold Club has a new series, My Golden Game. Speaking to former and current players, coaches, managers and fans of the matches that meant the most to them.
It's a club who I have in my heart, and I always keep following it.
I'd been back to Molyneux on a few occasions, and I never got a good reception, and that hurt me a little bit. Not that I thought I deserved better, but maybe because of those two games against West Brom, where I scored 4 goals in 2 appearances.
Check out the series so far, featuring the likes of Jodian Lescott, Kevin Doyle, Neil Emblem and Dennis Irwin.
I was absolutely delighted when they came in from England, and even more so when after having a tough first 4 or 5 months that we were on a bit of a roll and ended up playing in this fantastic game.
Old Gold Club, My Golden Game, available now.
Matchday Live on Wolves TV. Listen for free online at wolves.co.uk or on the move anywhere in the world via the Wolves app.
So full time at the Amex. It finished Brighton 3, Wolves 3, 1-0 down, 3-1 up, back to 3-3. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe should have won it right at the death through Owen Otasawi. Ikeme, how do you sum up that second half, really?
Bitterly disappointing, isn't it? For how good he was in the first half, he was equally as bad in the second. To give a penalty away straight away obviously puts you under pressure, and then we didn't really threaten Brighton after that. I can't remember us having an opportunity on goal really, apart from the one right to death, and we looked shaky at times. And hanging on at times as well. So it's disappointing because being 3-1 up at half time and playing so well, you'd expect us to go on and win the game. But in the end, we could have easily lost it as well. So disappointing, I think.
João Moutinho has so much experience, Michael Kightly, but even he prone to those little errors that we talked about pre-game because he just kind of left the foot in there, really, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm one of Moutinho's biggest fans, but I don't know what he's thinking there. It's just such a bad decision because Cody and Saïs are right there. That he's not really threatening. If he gets a shot off Mopé, I think it will get blocked. I don't know why he's dangled a leg there, and it's cost us that as tonight because I think if we don't concede that penalty so early on, we probably hang on. It changes the whole dynamic of the second half. Brighton have got a bit of confidence. Wolves are then a little bit nervous. And it's just a really poor decision from Moutinho, which is unlike him. but it's 2 points dropped that tonight. Really poor second half, and as Keem said, so good first half, but just wasn't at the races second half for whatever reason. Don't know whether fatigue set in, but just weren't at it.
Let's talk about that. And interested in all three of you there. I just want you just to chip in really with what you would put it down to. Probably a host of different things, but interested in all your thoughts. Tomo, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think the timing of the goal, I think in the second half is a big point with this. So like concede a penalty after 20 seconds are coming out. They changed their formation. They've gone a little bit with two up front, but all of a sudden it just puts Wolves straight on the back foot, and Brighton are pushing forward for everything. They've got that belief. They've got the belief that they can get back into the game after getting that penalty. And I think the timing of the goal, it was one of the major points for them getting back into the game, and all of a sudden gets a little bit nervous for Wolves.
But even after the goal, you know, they could have recovered. They could have got back into it, and they didn't. So what do we put that down to?
Sorry.
Go on, Carl.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were going.
Okay.
It's a number of things, but I agree with Tomo. It's the timing of the goal, and the atmosphere just changes straight away. Obviously, they get the confidence, and all of a sudden, they've got the energy to really put us under pressure. I think the timing of the goal is probably the main factor. Don't get me wrong, Christmas is always a grueling schedule, and with the injury we got as well, it's not helped to even be able to change and refresh things, because I think most of them players have probably played in each of the games over the Christmas period as well. So obviously that doesn't help. But when you can see the goal so close to after the restart, it deflates you as well, mentally, and somehow that reflects physically at times. And I think that was probably the main factor. I'm not saying fatigue's got nothing to do with it as well, but I think I agree with Thomas, the timing of the goal.
Yeah, I'd agree with the boys. I think the time of the goals, killed us. But for me also, we just didn't look like we had an outlet in the second half. Just that focal point that could just take a little bit of pressure off us. And, I know we talk about Silva being so young, but it just, for me, just didn't give us enough in the second half to get up the pitch and create a couple of chances ourselves. We just didn't really look like scoring, as Keem said, other than the last gasp chance at the end. We didn't create anything, and it's a really disappointing second half. After being so good, I thought in the first half, even conceding the goal that we conceded in the first half, I thought we were brilliant, but just not at the races second half.
I take all three of your point on the timing of the goal. I guess there will be fans watching Keems who will kind of go, well, we're still effectively 44 minutes left of the half, and talk us through, I guess, what impact that has on you and momentum-wise and tempo-wise in a team when you go out and get off to that bad a start and a half.
Yeah, do you know what it is, Mikey? It's not a thing that can always be explained. I think imagine what you all three of us can imagine what we'd be saying at halftime. Keep it tight for the first 10 minutes, and then if for that to happen straight away, it's not a fact of we've got 45 minutes to get back in the game. We've got something to hold on to now. You've got 45 minutes to stay in the game, to keep our lead, and you go into a protection mode at times. And without the buffer of the 2-goal lead, it becomes difficult. And we just think, I agree with Carl, so just didn't really get going and passing. No outlet. We had outlets first half, and it didn't quite materialise. Our passing was really crisp in the first half, and it wasn't quite crisp in the second half. And it's a tough one, because you can almost go, oh come on, and we've got 45 minutes, let's go. But you're thinking, do you know what, let's keep the back door closed and win the game, because we're going to be in the pressure now. And it's just a mentality sometimes that when you've got something to defend, you're more likely to defend than actually attack.
It's a mentality, Mikey. When you've played so well in the first half and you're 2 goals up, and then you concede straight away, you don't think, oh, we've got 45 minutes to get another goal. You think we've got 45 minutes now not to concede, and that's the difference. It's like a negative mentality when you concede so early on, where if you don't concede for sort of 15, 20 minutes, you wouldn't have seen that. I don't think. I think where it comes so early, as Tomo said, you then start thinking negatively, and you sit back a little bit, and then Brighton push on and create all the chances, and that's what I think it was.
So is there an element then? And listen, we don't really like to make excuses, but it has been mentioned, of course, the fact that there's a lot of young players in this Wolves team. There are a lot of players who haven't played an awful lot of senior football, and maybe what you guys seem to be suggesting then is, you start to look up at that big scoreboard and you see that there's an awful long time to go and the opposition have got their tails up.
Yeah.
And you start to worry maybe, and because you don't have that experience of seeing out those type of moments.
Yeah, because things look pretty easy in the first half, and you look like the passing was sharp. You say it was finding the target, but all of a sudden, because they've got that early goal, you start to think we need to hang on here. We need to make sure that we try and stop them. Then you become more defensively, and then you start to give away the ball, which happened. And all of a sudden, Brighton see this and get their bit between the teeth and start to push forward. The changing formation helped them. They were chasing absolutely everything down. The tempo of Brighton was lifted 100% from the goal. Our tempo went down a little bit. We couldn't find our targets. As you said, inexperience in some of the players, I think, to come here and play against experienced players who just dominated it in the end and pushed us back. I just think it was a catalogue of things that was the thing involved in it. And so the timing of the goal, the way that we played, I think the confidence went a little bit with it as well, keeping possession of the ball, because it just kept coming back and we just couldn't get out.
Also, Mikey, to be fair, in Nuno's defence, he's probably looking at that game thinking, I could do with making a substitution here just to give us a bit of a spark. And looking at that bench tonight, we didn't have that on the bench. We didn't have anyone that could come on and give us a spark and lift us again. So, let's be fair to him. He hasn't really got the resources, has he? So
to be fair, Kite, he did look at the bench a few times, kept looking back and having a look and then turning round. And you could see he's probably looking to see who he could bring on.
Exactly. There's no one on there really that he could bring on to try and change the game. So
totally agree with what Kites is saying as well. You was looking at the only thing you could do was try and change the formation to try and give us something else, and that's the only thing we could really do. And so you've had like Neto, Traore as well, played a lot of games, and you want a spark from them, but Kites will tell you as well. You can't wingers can't do it every game. It's hard, but when you've got no one to replace them as well, or no one to come off the bench to try and help you, it's difficult. It's difficult to get that sparkle, to get that bit of fresh legs in. You kind of having to bring on Owen on in a position and take in a position he's probably not too comfortable with anyway, to try and do something where I think Nuno, seeing that we were under the caution, okay, then let's just make us solid.
Because it's worth pointing out, isn't it, that the bench effectively was under 23 players, and the majority of them are pretty young under 23 players as well. I mean, Luke Cundle is 18, Taylor Perry is 19. These guys have got a handful of first team late sub appearances and some in the Europa League and kind of things, or the League Cup last season. Something, they need, don't they? And I don't know whether it's even possible financially to go out and get some players back, get some players in this month, but they need to find a way. And we talk a lot, don't we, about conceding the first goal and the goals that they concede. And I want to bring you back to the third goal, because they had a massive warning, Carl Ikeme, just before it, when Webster hit the crossbar and Takiri missed the follow-up. And the set piece again, just as at Burnley, it's proved a real Achilles heel for them.
Yeah, and I suppose it goes back to what we were saying about conceding the goal, and you end up being a bit more nervy on the set pieces as well. But they look dangerous from set plays. We're not the biggest team anyway, and with that not being having the most experience in areas as well, it just makes it difficult. They've got a big back four as well. They've got the big boys playing there, so it's always going to be difficult, but it's something we need to improve on. Let's be honest. Like you said, we've had problems with it at Burnley as well, and it's difficult, I suppose, because we haven't got the likes of Willy Bally and a few other big Jimenez. Then they make a difference. We're not a massive side anyway, even with them in. but he just brings a bit more presence and a bit more experience. But when you're having to have Neves and Moutinho and Silva try to defend set pieces, it's not an excuse, but it's just that they can't defend against the bigger lads. It's going to be difficult, and it goes back again to the players that we've got out as well. It's difficult at times when you've got so many players out to keep having performances and change things and help things along. It's not an excuse, but it's just going to be harder for them at the minute because we haven't got them players available to help when we need someone at set plays, or to help when we need to change the game, or to help when we need to shut a game off. We just haven't got that players, as you've alluded to, the younger players that are good players for the future, but they can't be expected to come on and change the game.
Can I ask you a question though? In that scenario, because Wolves kind of do a more of a zonal defence, don't they? And there's maybe a little bit of man-to-man, maybe a mix. But would you, in that instance, then, when you know that you're not favourites to win the first header, would you rather have someone on the post? I just wonder if there was someone on that post, are they kind of clearing that away?
It's difficult because Brighton put a lot of players in the box as well. So it doesn't really matter to me. I like to play on the post, just it give me a bit of safety to come for a cross. But some people don't like it. But I think because Brighton put so many men forward, it made us pick more men up. And I don't know if sometimes you could change it where you sort of play cat and mouse with them and leave 3 players up and to see what they do. But then because I think they're such a big side and they can attack it well, it just gives them more space to run on and try and head the ball as well. So there's many ways to try and to skin a cat and to defend set plays, but ultimately it was about losing the first and second headers really. And I know a man on the post can help here and there, especially if something goes in, but I don't think it would have had a big difference on what would have happened tonight.
Mikey, you look at that team and it's only really Safe and Cody that want to go and head it, and Cody's not the biggest.
Exactly.
So it's not even about size, it's the fact trying to just go and head it. And you look at that team, as I said, and it's only really those two that will go and do that. You know, we talk about missing Jimenez going forward, but what he done defensively from set pieces over the last couple of years has been unbelievable. So we have looked shaky from set pieces over the last few weeks. But hopefully we can get the players out of the treatment room and we can get back to winning ways as quick as possible.
Michael Kightly, talk to me about that moment right at the end then, because Adama Traore has done brilliantly first and foremost, and you have to feel for Otasowie. I mean, he's back out now having to do a bit of running at the end of the game, and I mean, they had to drag him off and out of that goal at the end because he knows, doesn't he? That was such an opportunity.
Yeah, it was. It was, a great chance to nick the win. And I say nick a win. I think just the way the second half went, I think if we'd have get a goal there, we would have been nicking a win. But he'll be disappointed because he would have felt if he could come on and get a goal, then he'll be the hero. But it wasn't to be. I know he'll be down, and as you said, he seems to be down. But he can't blame himself. Can't blame himself for that. I think it's more so Moutinho will be more down, to be honest, for the decision that he made just after half time.
Tomo, it's one of those where, again, a bit like the Fabio Silva one against Spurs, do we look at it and kind of go, well, a player of a little bit more experience might get his kind of head in the right position?
Yeah, no, I think it was quite difficult coming across to him. So, look, I know he thinks he should have done better, but I think it was totally different to Silva's at the back post when he should have scored. But he's just got to learn from it. At the end of the day, he's not going to be perfect. He's going to miss opportunities further on down his career, and it's just one of those things. But we shouldn't just be relying on that chance. Say for second half, we needed to push forward a little bit. I think that we needed to make sure we put Brighton on the back foot, but we didn't. We just invited pressure, and again, we talk about the timing of the goal. Okay, it was a big setback with the way that it went, but we've got to be able to recover from that. We've got to be able to make sure that we go out there and offer something going forward, because the momentum was just all with Brighton. They just kept coming, and you knew from a set play that was going to cause us a problem. And you could try and stop giving away set plays, i.e. free kicks and corners. I know that's difficult, but you've got to try and stop the things coming from the opposition, and we just didn't. And again, in hindsight, we got a point out of it. We could have quite easily have lost that game in the second half.
Well, there's a positive to take, isn't there? I say we are kind of sat here talking almost as if we lost the game. We didn't.
No.
It was 3-3, disappointing based on what the score was at half time, and also I guess because Otasari could have maybe stolen it at the end. But Michael Kightly, I think, is right. It would have been stolen more than anything else. Michael Kightly, Ikeme, Andy Thompson, thank you very much indeed. Happy New Year to you all. Happy New Year to everybody who's been watching us this evening. It's not quite kicked off in the manner that we hoped for 2021, but hopefully there is still better to come. The FA Cup is up next. Join us for that. Have a good evening. We'll see you soon.